We are going live now. Oh shoot. Alright, and we are live now. Yeah! Are we? Yes, we are. You guys can see everything that I want to show you. Spicy, I don't know why you're pee-pee hard. It's Higurashi Town. It's where we are. I feel like my microphone's a little lower than I remember it. Oh well. Too late now. Oh, I'll listen to some nice cicadas. Their thing. Actually, gotta load the tips section. So we have some music. Some creepy music is where we're at. Bad things are happening. Oh, the sound is really loud for me. I don't know how loud it is for you guys, but I think I adjusted it so that you guys aren't dying. But for me, everything's like, whoa! So, anyway, hope everyone's having a good time. Welcome, Uni, of course. Welcome, Spicy. Good to have you. Excuse me. Choked on water. Water kills. So we concluded chapter 8 last time. I don't think we read the tips, so we'll start with that. And you can clearly see that my mouse cursor exists somewhere in the world. I don't see it. Maybe that's... Oh, I was clicked off screen, so it was actually behind it. That's cool. I could just like, whoop, my mouse is invisible now. Oh no. And then it just comes back. Because that's what we do here. Hope everyone's having a good day. A little tired, so... you know, we'll hang in there. Yesterday's sound was a biatch. I don't know why. I'm gonna assume it has something to do with Skype, because that's usually the guilty party. Yeah, we are live, and we are gonna play some more Higurashi today. People are gonna come in and be like, "So what's view new tips? View all tips, save and load, and continue." And I'm gonna just be like, read the description, fam. Read it. Alright, so I don't know how many people will show up, but once that 7 o'clock hits, we'll see in 10 seconds, 9, 8. So if you want to know like about where I am in time. I know it sounds silly, but welcome guys. It is 7 p.m. my time now. It probably hit 7 p.m. before I said this for you, because there's always a slight latency. But everyone, welcome to the Monday Night Livestream hosted by yours truly, animefanrk2k here. We're playing more Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 1, Onikakushi. Yep. I'm gonna view the new tips, because I don't think we read them last time. Notice from the police chief. What does this say? July 1st, 1982. Tutorials 1 through 12. Expert for... Oh, wait, no, we already read this. Skip. Yeah, we read this. It's the non-disclosure of the investigation and stuff. Never mind. Boop. So let's just continue right into this game, where clearly only happy and fun things happen. Nothing bad ever happens, right? Weirdness and a headache. Starting out strong. Not a very nice way to start the day. What's wrong, Keiichi? You don't look so well. When did you go to sleep? It seemed that my mom had noticed my sullen state. Yesterday I kept on waking up in the middle of the night. Without a doubt I felt a presence. Felt the presence of someone standing in front of my door. Told myself repeatedly that it was my imagination and forced myself to try and sleep. Except, not being able to stand it, I gathered up my courage and opened the door. Of course, there wasn't anyone there. It's called paranoid. I think I did this 3 times throughout the night. Or maybe I just didn't remember doing it any more than that. Even though I was able to get to the breakfast table without incident, I still didn't feel at ease. Oh no, Keiichi. Might be a cold. I don't really have an appetite. My, you do seem a little warm. Well, can you make it to school? Technically, I did go to a school, but it was mostly self-study. It wouldn't matter much if I missed a day, wouldn't it? Would it? Could have been that I hadn't been feeling well for the last few days because I really did have a cold. If I took some medicine and got a good day of rest, I might be able to greet everyone with a smile tomorrow. Ding dong! Sorry, I looked back and forth between the entrance and the clock. It's 10 minutes later than when I usually met up with Rena. It was Rena. Rena-chan came to get you. What are you going to do? Are you going to take the day off? Rena was a good girl. She might be somewhat quirky, but she was certainly cute. The lunches she made were delicious, and she always looked out for me. Why should I be so scared of something like that? It wasn't Rena's fault. It was probably mine. It had to have been my cold. It just had to be. I'll rest. Sorry. Then I'll go send her off for you. Mom headed off to the door. I would have to pass by the entrance to get back to my room. I didn't have the nerve to meet up with Rena, so I wrapped myself in a blanket on the sofa and closed my eyes. I was so sleep deprived I quickly fell into a deep slumber. Sleep! I'd only intended to lie down for a bit, but it was almost noon when I woke up. I called out to my parents, but they didn't seem to be around. On the table, I found lunch prepared and a note. Mom and Dad had apparently driven off to somewhere far away. Likely had to do with Dad's work. This happened every so often, so it wasn't that unusual. Sleep! Exactly. They'd probably be back sometime after dinner. On the note it said, the insurance card is in the cabinet, take it and go to the hospital. There was also a well-drawn map to the hospital. That's right. I hadn't been there before, so I didn't know exactly where it was. I had a light lunch, although it really was just leftovers from the morning, and just in case went to the hospital. Time to go to the hospital! Normally I'd never be here in the middle of a weekday. Just walking around like this had me feeling guilty. It was an odd feeling. Following my mom's map, I took a road I usually never used. After walking for a bit, the hospital sign came into view. Irie Clinic was written rather stylishly on the sign. The clinic wasn't very big, but based on the scale of the rest of Hinamizawa, it was far too grand. There was a parking lot and even a reserved spot for buses. It must be making a mint. I spaced out in the air-conditioned waiting room until it was my turn to be seen. Maibara-san, please make your way to the examination room. If you didn't know, Keiichi's full name is Keiichi Maibara, which I think was in like the first episode. Or about, I don't know, 7 hours ago, give or take. After properly answering all of the chatty doctor's questions, he responded with the old, "It's probably a cold." He gave me a shot and 3 days worth of medicine. Thought I was a little overboard, but if it would clear away the gloomy feeling I've been having lately, then it was worth it. This dude got hella AIDS! Is that what it is, Spicy? Is that what we call 3 days rest? Settled the bill and took a quick trip to the washroom. As I was leaving, I overheard a conversation between some elderly people who seemed to be regulars at the clinic. Of course, I had no intention of eavesdropping, if it wasn't for that word. Must have been an Onikakushi. I wonder. She was still pretty young. Might have just eloped. With whom? That man from Tokyo who visits every season. A young one with that big camera. Didn't you know they were getting along like Donkey Kong? I mean, getting along pretty well. Are they talking about Tomitake-san? I feel my ears perking up. I don't know about that, but you have to make preparations before you elope. Leave a note or quit their job or something. It's an elopement because they didn't leave a note or message. The thought that I'll never see that young nurse's face again makes me rather sad. Takano-san is an upstanding young woman. She'll be fine wherever she goes. So her name was Takano-san, that woman with Tomitake-san, and she worked at this clinic? Orishiro-sama's shadow was following me everywhere I went. I started listening more closely, but they began talking about fishing and didn't seem like they were going to revisit the topic. I gave up and left. Thus, even though I was separated from the daily monotony of school, I wasn't able to escape from Oishiro-sama's shadow. The shadow! The shadow! As Bukake at first? How'd you get that mistake, Spicy? Come on! Mind out the gutter! People are dying here! Literally, actually. But of course, Oishiro-sama was the guardian deity of this place. Of Hinamizawa. As smooth music plays. Okay. As long as I was in Hinamizawa, I wouldn't be able to escape. No escape ever. Hope you guys like my old people voices. Maybe it was because I was walking outside, but my appetite suddenly returned. I might as well buy a snack with the change from the examination fee on the way home. Contemplating that, I turned onto a familiar street. At that moment, I heard a car horn abruptly honk behind me. Was I really walking so far into the middle of the road where I'd be in a car's way? Moved further off to the side, but the horn was still honking at me. I turned around peeved. Maebara-san. I don't remember Tomitake's voice. I mean, not Oishi's voice. Maebara-san. Good day to you. I don't know. It was Oishi-san. His voice sounded a little different from last week. I don't know why. That's just a random thought I had. He stepped out of the car, AC full blast, and waved at me. What's up today? School on break? Just not feeling well, so I took the day off. I was about to buy lunch and head back home. Anything fucked up happened yet? Nothing yet, Finitas. Just normal police stalking me on my day off from school because I was sick and just coming back from the clinic. That's all. That's great. I'm just about to get lunch myself. Would you mind going together? If you're not feeling up for it, then don't mind me. I also forgot what Oishi's voice sounded like because I'm tired a little bit. I was just going to lie down after going home anyway. I didn't really have a cold. Doubt you want to eat at one of these local places. Let's go into town. It's a bit of a drive. Is that alright? I know a pretty good place. I finally begun to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying things. He probably wanted to talk to me about stuff that would be difficult to discuss while in Hinamizawa. And so maybe it was a Bukake, I don't know. I went to Oisha riding in his frigid car. You know, that's it. And then I became the disappearing person. It was almost as if the bright sunlight outside was a lie. I'm sorry about calling you so late last night. Did your parents get angry at you? No. Recalled Rena, who had been listening to the phone conversation all that time, separated from me by just a door. Even now in the brightness of the sunlight, the thoughts still creeped me out. The big bump that jolted the car, the road connecting to the city changed from dirt to pavement. My head swiveled back with a sudden realization. That's right. This is where Tomitake-san died. They hit a snag on the investigation regarding Tomitake-san. Oishi spoke while peering at me from the corner of his eye. They believed it was caused by hallucinogens, given how he was clawing out his own throat. But a drug that could cause that to happen so suddenly is extremely hard to come by. Bear in mind, of course, the autopsy was done with that premise in mind, but we didn't find any leads. I don't know, now he's becoming like my Alfred Hitchcock impersonation. You know that thing you see in comics all the time, where there's a drug that if you put it in them, it doesn't leave any traces? It exists. Succinyl something or other. Succinyl? Yeah. Well, it's pretty common. But you see, there doesn't seem to be any kind of drug that would cause Tomitake-san to react like that. Then you're saying the police conclude Tomitake-san just died from the curse? This guy popped a molly? I could help but feel that the police were worthless. I just wanted the idea of a curse to be dissociated from Tomitake-san's mysterious death. Unfortunately, that's how it looks right now. But putting aside the cause of death, without a doubt he was surrounded by a group of people and had taken a beating before he died. That was no curse, but an incident that unquestionably involved other humans. That made me feel a bit relieved. Sucking that cannot unsee that name. That is very actually random and funny. We pass in front of the rather desolate but still busier than Hinamizawa train station. I press the spacebar, not the enter bar. Enter progresses, space just hides. I don't know why. Car pulled into a restaurant parking lot. I follow Oishi-san into the shop. Welcome to Angel Mort. It was pretty crowded, but there were only adults at this hour. Of course, there wouldn't be children in here in the middle of a weekday. 2, please, non-smoking. This way, please. When you're ready to order, please call me over. We are led by a peculiarly dressed waitress to our table. Let's have Oishi-san to the booth. So, what do you think? Aren't the waitress's outfits here cute? Huh? Well, I guess. The shop is always quite busy. It's more about the waitresses than the food, you see. Oishi-san, you're being a pervert! Am I really? Okay. Alright. So, everyone's a lecherous scumbag here. The end. Regardless of how the waitress looked, the food was decent enough. Finishing our meals while talking about some inane topic, Oishi-san's after-meal cup of coffee arrived at the table. Yesterday we talked about Hinamizawa's past, didn't we? Yeah, that was a village of man-eating demons or something like that. I didn't know much about it myself, so I asked my grandmother about it this morning. Oishi-san took out the notepad that was stuffed into his breast pocket. Turns out that Hinamizawa used to be called Onikakushi, or Ogre's Abyss. Onikakushi. That's quite the name. You know it is. It's in Japanese. The name is still around. The marsh where the Shinto's priest's wife drowned herself is still called Onikakushi Swamp, Ogre's Abyss. It's said that the depths of the marsh connect to the realm of demons. Ogres. It's all ogre now. Shrek? Oh, so is it time for, like, bad ogre puns? Of course, nobody had told me anything about such an ominous marsh. It's not a swamp, it's a marsh. Although it is called, it also could be a swamp. And you see, it appears they were both feared and revered. A respect born from fear. I guess you could say it was, kind of deification. Village of inhuman creatures. Seems the demons were Senin, or mountain-dwelling mystics of sorts, taking villagers with incurable illnesses into the ogre's abyss and healing them, for example. Even if we are calling them demons, Tengu, long-nosed, goblins, or Senin would be a more apt description. And Spicy is now posting the lyrics of All-Star. Anyway, they don't seem like such terrible people, even though they were called demons. But they were still man-eating demons. According to the story my grandma told me, as payment for treating the son's illness, let us eat the mother who brought him here, was apparently how things went. Done. The price of curing her son was herself. That's unsettling. Of course, the mother took her son and ran. Then you see, all the people who lived in Onikakushi. The demons chased them down, rounded them up, and captured them. And ate them! The entire village, apparently. That's quite a frightening thing to imagine. That was scary. In the end, it seems both the mother and son were caught and eaten. The end. Wow, what an uplifting story. I am so glad that Oishi-san told me about this great and awesome story while I'm suffering from paranoid episodes, and I'm pretty sure my classmate is stalking me, and she might know that about our conversation yesterday, and wait, what? There's a problem with this story. Both witnesses in the story were eaten, so nobody would be able to tell the tale. Oh, ha 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 ha. There are plenty of old fables like this. In contrast to the ghastly tale, Oishi-san laughed heartily while sipping his coffee. Ha! Oh, they put speed in my coffee today. Wow, we're with a lot today. We are with a lot? But, well, there are quite a few other tales, where the demons from Onikakushi band together to capture their prey. I reckon that Mion said all the villagers united and fought against the dam construction. I saw similarities with how that part about unification overlapped. Normally they hunted down a single person, and they chose who it was going to be beforehand. Huh? That caught my attention. Venus, I'm not sure. Everyone died! Higurashi kills everybody! No! Nah! Oishi-san also appeared to be pondering about what it meant. My grandmother told me that you must never interfere with the demon's hunt. You should just hole up in your house and hide under the covers, she said. So what does this all mean? It means you mustn't ever help or protect the prey. As long as you don't disturb the demon's hunt, no harm will fall upon the villagers. It seems there's that kind of rule. Basically, don't help the victims. Pretend you didn't see the atrocities, in other words. What happens if you break the rule? Well, they're man-eating demons, after all. Many parts of that tale caught my attention. Parts of the story told me overlapped with his theory that the perpetrators were all the village families. Even if it wasn't the whole village, it was conceivable that the villagers were, quote-unquote, hiding under the covers and leaving them to die. When there's a group that was on their quote-unquote hunt, wasn't it? I didn't dare speak it. Then Oishi-san, I guess it looks like it's either the village families or a group of villagers perpetrating the crimes? What do you think, Mayabara-san? Ah, excuse me. Another cup of coffee, please. That's what I wanted to know. Seemed that we were both waiting for the other to say the last part. I waited for the waitress to finish pouring coffee before speaking. Last year, I had a nagging feeling when Satoshi couldn't disappear. Oh, Oishi-san, last year, I had a nagging feeling when Satoshi couldn't disappear. Oishi-san muttered as he's watching milk swirling around his coffee. Yeah, go get food, man. I ate. You eat too. So those friends of Satoshi-san, meaning your group of friends, Mayabara-san, I had a bit, really just a little bit, okay, of background checking done on them. Oishi-san had said this to me before. I would have been furious, since he told me earlier not to suspect my friends. But as I was now, I couldn't. This might sound pretty stupid, Mayabara-san. If you feel that is stupid, please say so. I'll just stop. Oishi-san was wearing the most serious expression that I had ever seen from him. It was as if he was telling me to prepare myself and listen. There were quite a few things I regretted hearing from Oishi-san, but none of them were as threatening as this. A low voice inside me was screaming like an alarm. Stop, Keiichi. This is probably the last one! Took a deep breath and silenced that voice. Keiichi, no! How? Don't do it! How? Wait, what's that random how sound? Little voice inside me, what are you saying? Gomennasai? Gomennasai? I don't know. I would not run from the truth. Please. That was all I could utter. Oishi-san stared into my eyes silently for a few moments. After he was certain I was ready, he began. The victim of the incident in the first year was the overseer. A few weeks prior, he had an altercation with Mion Sonozaki-san. How? H-A-U-U. That's important. It's an important sound effect, remember it, what? Multiple altercations. Oishi-san had said before that Mion had defied the dam project vehemently. Well, it wasn't hard to imagine how she'd be if she got worked up. That's our Mion, kicking the crap out of people even 5 years ago when she was younger. In the second year, the married couple who supported the project died in that accident, right? They had a daughter. Her name is Satoko Hojo-san. Huh? Satoko meaning Satoko. Yes! Satoko is Satoko! Oh my goodness! What a revelation. God damn it, Keiichi. You're losing it. Oishi-san's look told me that my voice was too loud. I realized that as well and quickly quieted down. The Shinto priest and his wife who died in the third year, you see. Their daughter is Rika Furude-san. Rika-chan was? The housewife who died in the fourth year. You know her already, don't you? It was the step-aunt of Satoko Hojo-san. She was in her aunt and uncle's custody, as she had lost both of her parents in the accident. She lived in the victim's house. I could tell my lips were getting dry. I didn't even have the wits to keep my mouth from hanging agape. I thought it was nothing but a bizarre incident, one that I could easily distance myself from. But clicking and clacking, it had snuck all the way to my feet. The one who disappeared the fourth year, by the way, he was Satoko-san's older brother. What, just, wait just a second. Took everything I had to finally say that. Gulped out a glass of water. Are you okay, Keiichi-san? I'm drinking this water. And once again wiped my face with a napkin. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. Oishi-san was relentless. Instead of waiting for me to finish sorting out my feelings, started speaking again. The last of the things I shouldn't have heard. All of the victims seem to be connected to your group of friends. That has to be just a coincidence. Maebara-san, keep it down. Everyone's looking. Mion? Satoko? Rika-chan? So what if they're connected? Telling me all my friends are crazy? I'm not crazy. You're crazy, old man. Couldn't be. Just couldn't be. Oh, Rena is different, isn't she? Rena isn't connected with the victims at all. Rena Ryugu-san was living in a suburb of Ibaraki Prefecture up until last year. Well, it's true she hadn't directly met any of the victims. He said it in a roundabout way. Is he saying she's also connected? Actually, I looked into her. Before Ryugu-san moved to Hinamizawa, she was suspended from school. It seems she went through her school building and broke all the windows. Rena did that? She broke all the windows at her school? That same silly Rena had? I couldn't even imagine it. It seems that after her 3-day suspension, she didn't return to school. She went to a neurologist and was diagnosed with dysautonomia. Dysautonomia? She was given weeks of counseling and medication. I wonder if it was something like a nervous breakdown. I heard that habits people are really methodical or overly sensitive. Neither of those match Rena's easygoing personality. And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all the conversations he had with Rena-san. It shows up, and quite a bit at that. What did? I pressed forward carelessly. There couldn't be anything more for me to regret. Except it's going to happen. He knew they killed, and yet that lazy cop didn't do anything. God damn it, Oishi, what are you doing? She mentioned the word Oyashiro-sama. Well, colored me paranoid, because now I'm going to believe every word this guy says. Felt like someone's stone cold hand was caressing my back. It was like, there, Keiichi. Why? Why had Rena spoken to Oyashiro-sama before she even came to Hinamizawa? Seems that the Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost appearing in our house every night, standing over her pillow, looking down at her. My mind froze. Couldn't process what I was being told. A while after that, she moved to Hinamizawa. Ah, that's right. She's not an outsider. Huh? According to the residency register, the Ryugu family used to reside in Hinamizawa. Rena-san moved to Ibaraki right after she finished elementary school. My mind went completely blank. It was similar to the static you see on a blank TV channel. Sorry, guys. My ears began ringing as I lost all sense of comprehension. Maebara-san, are you all right? Shall we stop? Those words brought me back. Couldn't let it end here. Not like this! Now I understand, Rena. Then how about the last victim, Tomitake-san? Who was he connected with? Irritated, I let out one final reprisal. All of them. Have you forgotten, Mayabara-san? Anime static fictan. Thank you. Thank you. Didn't you all spend the night of the festival together quite merrily? Quite a few of the officers saw you enjoying yourselves. No, there was nothing I could respond with. I felt silent as my brain turned to mush. A lot of things I want to point out, old man, but I think you won this round. We should get going. Ah, Mayabara-san, did you take your afternoon medicine? I had completely forgotten about the medicine I had gotten today until Oishi-san said that. Got another glass of water and we left the shop and I chugged it down. The medicine, that is. And the water too, probably. Got in the car and returned to Hinamizawa via the rough road. Never really paid attention when I was on my bike, but do cars normally shake this much? It was almost as if the road was desperately trying to tell me something. Ba-dump! A big jolt was from the difference in elevation of the road when it changed from cement to dirt. I was certain that I heard Tomitake-san scream. I sat in silence, just letting myself be shaken by the car. I'll drop you off at your house. You missed school because you were ill, correct? My apologies for the long conversation. Why did you talk to me? Blurted out the question. Really just blurted it out. I didn't expect an answer. I did check with you first, didn't I? If we just stop. Not that. Why did you reach out to me? I understood quite well that Oishi-san was investigating this string of suspicious incidents. But why was he telling me all this? I knew nothing and I couldn't tell. Everything Oishi-san spoke of was news to me. First of all, what could I... Have you just moved here? No. By chance, if there was a reason for Oishi-san to reach out to me, there would have to be. That looked suspicious to Oishi-san, as I was part of Mion's circle of friends. I'm retiring this year. I plan on moving away after retiring as my grandma wants. So while I'm still on the case, I want to bring the truth behind this incident to light. So Oishi-san, you suspect them, don't you? All of them. Oishi-san didn't really give a response. Felt a little late, but I thought it was his way of showing a bit of consideration for my feelings. This is mostly from my intuition from 30 years on this job. Mayabara-san, you're the one in danger. Huh? I want to reply with, that was absurd, but in my downtrodden state I couldn't bring myself to say it. I'll be retiring this year, so I won't be at the Watanagashi next year, so I want to settle things. In other words, he was insinuating that on the next Watanagashi I might be the victim. I've been warned by the chief as well. Each incident in the string of cases has been solved, so don't bring it up again, or so I was told. This is the pressure that I'm facing. Pressure from what? Someone in Hinamizawa. We arrived. Is this fine? After some time, the car finally reached the path to my house. The clock read 2 p.m. I was surprised so little time had passed since we ate. It was hot outside the car. Chirping the Higurashi hurt my ears. I won't mind if you just forget everything I told you today, but I'm still going to keep investigating. I'll end Oyashiro-sama's curse this year. So you're saying I should contact you if anything happens? It's fine. Just contact me when you feel you have to, Mayabara-san. I wasn't collected enough to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying it. Be sure to take it easy. I'm sorry for throwing all this at you while you're taking the day off because you're sick. I didn't really give any sort of response. I'll always be on your side. If anything, believe that. I'll be off now. The tires crunched over the dirt road as the car made a U-turn and disappeared into a cloud of kicked-up dust. It felt like I was watching a boat only throw me a lifesaver in shark-infested waters before disappearing into the distance. That was the first time I thought Oishi-san was being unfair. Telling me I was going to be the next victim, then just saying to contact him if something happened. This wasn't a criminal investigation. He was fishing. I was just the bait dangling off the line. Would the fish be the perpetrator, or was it really just Oyashiro-sama's curse? Either way, the bait would be swallowed whole. Damn it. I don't want to die. For some time, I could do nothing but stare at the puddle of water left behind by the AC from the car. Oh man, dying sucks. I don't want that to be me. Oh, this chapter still continueth. I wonder how much time had passed since I laid down. It was getting dark outside. My body was soaked in sweat. It would probably be a good idea to change my sheets. At that moment, the phone downstairs rang. It was probably Mom. Mom was quite the worrywart. Maybe she had called many times, but I just didn't notice. Oops. Hello, this is the Mayabara residence. Oh, he's alive. Hello. This is Mion. How you doing? Oh. Is it a mom answer? Is this one of Keiichi's friends? Keiichi's resting now, but shall I put him on? Oh. Huh? Is this his dad? So sorry. Idiot. You fell for it. It's all Keiichi, man. Huh? Kei-chan! After exchanging, we both had a good laugh together. Except I was suspicious of her even as we were laughing. Was everybody really involved in the incident? I don't know, why don't you talk to them? The fact that I couldn't say no saddened me. I'm relieved that you seem well. Rena was really worried, you know? Sakuto-chan was happy and said you got what you deserved. Rika said how unfortunate he's sick. Looks like everybody was making a big deal out of it. Well, you know, so Kei-chan, it's not a bad time to come pay you a visit? Visit? No, it's okay. It's not like I'm dying. My grandmother made a ton of mochi, you see. I was told to share them, so I'll bring you some. Hey now, you'll catch my cold. Not to worry, both Rena and I are too stupid to catch a cold. See ya. Be there in a bit. She hung up cheerfully. Rena's coming too. That's what it sounded like. I was still concerned about meeting Rena, but I guess if she was with Mion. Keiichi Tsuchiya, that's someone completely different. Heard the doorbell 10 minutes later. How are you feeling? Did you take your medicine and rest? I did just that. Thank goodness you look well. I was worried. Sorry, I'll be fine by tomorrow. Mion showed a complete lack of concern for someone who was recovering, and Rena looked like she was worried about me from the bottom of her heart. Didn't look like there was anything behind those expressions. I thought we might hang out for a bit, but it looks like you're not quite in the condition for it. You don't say. See, my face appeared a bit sullen. Then here, Keiichi-kun. These are the mochi-mi-chan's grandmother made. Rena held out the package wrapped in newspaper. Might be about 5 in here. It's quite hefty. Aw, thanks. Send my regards to your grandma, Mion. Yep. There's one I made in there as well. I wonder if Keiichi can guess which one. This is Kei-chan's homework since he missed the club meeting today. There are letters on each mochi, so I'll ask you tomorrow. Were you checking if I was feeling better, or did you just come here for club activities? Yep, looking fine. Guess you'll be able to make it tomorrow. Man, what are you going to do if my fever comes back because of your shenanigans? Mi-chan, we shouldn't be making such a racket. Let's go. The other people here will get angry. Both of them thought my parents were home. It's because the entranceway was a mess. You're right, let's get going. By the way, Kei-chan. Yeah? What did you eat for lunch? The sudden question startled me and went wide-eyed when I saw Mion. I never seen her like that. It was a highly unsettling visage. But why is she asking me about what I ate for lunch? What she said was so inane it was almost meaningless. The way she said it was almost like she didn't even care at all about what I ate. I ate out. She must have suspected that I was with Oishi-san. He's about to die! Anyway, I felt that if I hesitated or tried to change the subject, then they reached too deep into it, so I tried answering as quickly as possible. Except contrary to the efforts I had made, there was a pause before they replied. So you ate out for lunch, Keiichi-kun. The glimmer for Rena's eyes had changed at some point as well. It's now sharp, as if to make me feel the feigned ignorance behind her words even more. As if she already knew. That's how it looked to me. Well, was it good? Why are you asking me this? Mion was oh, that was Mion. Well, was it good? Why are you asking me this? Mion was speaking in an unusually low tone. Almost as if she knew that I had eaten at the restaurant in town. No, I'm overthinking this. I mean, both of them should have been in school at lunchtime. There was no way they could have known where I was. Seems you were with a rather austere-looking older guy. Who was he? Flop. The package with the mochi I was holding slipped out of my hands. I could tell the blood had drained from my face, making me go pale. Run, you fool! Oh, Keiichi-kun. Who was he? Could it be the person from before, I wonder? I could feel the back of my throat going dry. This was no longer a bluff. They knew everything. How did you know that? It took everything I had to finally force those words from my throat. My knees were shaking. Because there's nothing this old man doesn't know. Mion sneered knowingly, and her laugh seemed to carry on forever. So Kei-chan, what did you talk about? It seems like you got pretty worked up over it too. We weren't talking about you guys. Didn't have anything to do with you and Rena. Isn't it a bit strange to hear our names come up, even though nobody asked about them? Rena's unwavering gaze pierced through my eyes and peered further inside me. I dug my own grave. My heart was throbbing so much it felt like it was going to explode. Well, whatever you're trying to hide, this old man already sees through it all. Remember that. I couldn't even shake my head. It took everything I had to stop my teeth from chattering. She never let her gaze break from mine, even as she tilted her head slightly. Keiichi-kun, you don't look so good. I think you should lie down. That's true. We should both head back home. As if nothing had happened, they both giggled at each other and started making their way out. I hadn't moved a muscle since I had dropped the package of mochi. As they left, the door slowly closed behind them. All I could do was stare, as if I couldn't move until the door was completely closed. Just as the door was just about to close, it opened again slightly with a sudden creak, sending my heart racing once again. A single eye peered in through the narrow slit, and Mion's hawkish gaze peered at me once again. See you, Kei-chan. Yeah. I hate it if you miss school tomorrow, alright? Thud! The door closed. I wasn't able to move a muscle even after a low laughter died off into the distance and silence once more again enveloped the room. Coming back to my senses, the first thing I did was lock the door. They knew what Oishi-san and I talked about. Why? How? No, that wasn't important. Thinking about it now, all of it could have been overheard from the beginning when Oishi-san met me. Just as Mion said, I couldn't hide anything. Then what were they trying to tell me? That part was obvious. They were warning me not to say anything unnecessary. What did they deem unnecessary? I only talked to Oishi-san about one thing. And they were warning me that was unnecessary. What was that Oishi-san talked to me about? The incidents involving Oishi-sama's curse that occurred every year were individual cases, but were connected as a whole. As well as the fact that there may be multiple perpetrators hidden within Hinamizawa. No, precisely. That Mion, Rena, Satoko, and Riko-chan were all suspicious. Is that what they were all warning me against? What kind of nonsense am I thinking about? I had my own face hard enough that I let out a loud slap. Hey, how's it going, Casserola? If only that would wake me up from this nightmare. For some reason, it felt like I was punching a blanket. It was almost laughably painless. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. When did I become such a pessimist? Calm down. Calm down. Settle down, sort things out. The reason Mion knew I was eating lunch with Oishi-san was probably because somebody from Hinamizawa just happened to be there at the time. He must have told Mion that I was there. That made the most sense. Plus, come to think of it, she didn't ask me where I ate lunch, did she? She only asked, was it good? They were just curious since I was together with someone not from Higurashi. It was not as if they had any ulterior motives. That's it. That has to be it. Think about it that way, it was the same with Rena. I was just being strangely ambiguous about when I met with Oishi-san, and Rena was just correcting me on that. That's why I was bewildered by the change in character from the usual mild-mannered Rena. I was just startled by it. That's the most natural way of thinking about it. Felt like my mind was mixed up like a tangled mess of spaghetti. Deep red marinara sauce would have poured out of my nose and ears as you squeezed my head. Thinking that I suddenly felt like vomiting. I really didn't want that to happen, so I stopped holding my head. Lately I had no idea what anyone was saying. Spending time with them was fun. Didn't feel like there was any sort of hidden agenda. I really do think that they're a good bunch of people. I just moved here and couldn't make heads or tails of everything. They were really kind to me. Rena was really kind and always looked after me. As long as that strange affliction didn't rear its ugly head, she was really pretty cute. Rena was also a really good person. She didn't care about anyone's age or gender and was optimistic and outgoing. I was never bored when I was with her. I talk of not getting bored, Rambunctious Satoko was a good person for that too. She was pretty bratty, but that was just the way she interacted with others. Yuki-chan was the same way. She didn't speak often, but that didn't mean she was always silent. They're my friends. But after hearing of the better untold secrets of Hinamizawa and from Oishi-san and Tomitake-san, when I was told about Oishi-sama's curse, things started going crazy. Then hearing from Oishi-san that Mion, Rena, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious. After that, everyone changed. That's right. All started getting weird after Oishi-san told me about all that strange stuff. At that time, I really should have just not listened to those weird stories. I even shouldn't have heard about the past incident with Tomitake-san the night of Watanagashi. If I just hadn't gotten that strange sense of curiosity, I just hadn't. That's right. So why Tomitake-san, that impudent outsider speaking to the likes of me after everybody went out of their way to keep it a secret from me. They'll probably Oishi-san as well. Uh-oh, we're losing words, guys. We're trying to unearth what everybody was warning me about better left buried. Was better left buried. Besides that, he was unforgivable for spewing words that made me doubt the others. Of course a guy like that is going to be killed. Killed? Tomitake-san and Oishi-san were nothing but outsiders after all. There were entities who couldn't coexist with the people in Hinamizawa. Those guys should just fall to Oishi-sama's curse and just die. It wasn't their fault. It was my fault for not being able to hold back my curiosity. It wasn't their fault. 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 I settled into a daze. It was a lethargic feeling like I had just gotten up. The ominous chill that haunted me had subsided. I was fine now. I was no longer frightened. I had completely recovered. I'll go to school tomorrow, right as rain. I'll greet everyone. I'll take part in club activities. It'll definitely be fun. It had to be fun. I was one of them, after all. Ah, that reminds me, I need to eat those mochi. I hope I'm able to tell which one Rena made. I remember the homework the two brought with them when they visited me. But wow, our club did delivery. That was something else. Picked up the package I dropped on the floor and headed into the living room. It'd be nice, I guess, to have some tea with it. To fill my mouth with mochi while drinking tea. Oh, this is quite a delectable situation I was in. Opening up the newspaper wrapping, there are 5 plump red bean paste mochi fit snugly inside. They were letters written from left to right on the newspaper. A, B, C, D, and E. Now then, he said Rena made one of these. I wonder which one. There wasn't much difference how they looked. They smelled and appeared about the same. This was a pretty difficult problem. The biggest difference was probably their shape. I wasn't sure what kind of person Mion's grandma was. Rena had to be different from hers. Looking carefully, I could see one mochi that was made very neatly. So well that just by staring at it, one could tell it stood out. Looks like this challenge depends on whether or not this one is Rena's. Calm down and think even harder. Mion said her grandmother made a ton of them and was told to give some out, correctly, so that meant 4 of these were from that large batch. Then what about Rena? She probably only made 1. So she probably spent quite a bit of time on it. Meaning the one that Rena made was this one, E. For a moment I had thought it may have been a trap Mion had laid, as she knew I'd pick it up on it, but that probably wasn't the case. I wouldn't be so sure if I knew Mion had made it. Since she said Rena made it, it probably wasn't a trap. Alright, my tea is ready too. I'll start with the defending champion. Champ, Mion's grandma. Let's see. Not bad. Smooth bean paste and soft chewy texture left little to be desired. Tea I drank afterwards almost accentuated the experience. This was an exquisite piece of work. Now how about Rena's? The creation was so delicate, one would think it was a high-class Japanese dessert. So I normally had quite the appetite. I was slightly worried about the size of the portion. But well, first a bite. This was quite a difficult one to judge, actually. The ingredients were exactly the same, so there was a little difference in flavor. What was different was how it was shaped at the ends. So it was to be expected. So the deciding factors would be presentation and volume. The well-formed and well-sized champion versus Rena the challenger, with a size you just couldn't get enough of. I had only had one bite of Rena's. I would probably have to wait until after I was done eating to make my decision. Maybe there was something hidden inside that could cause an upset. Choo-choo, See, my prediction was right. My tongue touched something. It didn't feel like something edible, so I reached into my fingers and grabbed it. What? What was this? Before I could fully comprehend what it was, I threw away the rest of the mochi I was eating as fast as I could. Slammed against the wall, causing the beam gem to splatter. Then after sticking for a moment, it slid down to the floor. I was dumbstruck by my own actions. What was I doing? I had gone out of her way to make it for me. How could I? Dumbstruck, I looked down at the hand that performed such a vile act. Then I remembered what I had taken out of my mouth. At first I thought it was a hair. Even though it was shorter than Mion's, Rena's hair was still quite long. And it wasn't this short. It was also a little too hard to be hair. It was thick enough to roll on my tongue, around on my tongue. There was a bit of a metallic sheen on one end of it. Ah, yes. There was a hole for where a thread goes through, like it was a sewing needle. Yes, that's right. It looked very much like a sewing needle. Exactly like one. The end was pointed as well, quite sharply. It really did look just like a sewing needle, huh? What did I mean by it looked very much like a sewing needle just a bit ago? I couldn't answer. Her voice inside me already knew and let me know by chattering my molars together. I couldn't stave off the terror welling up inside me. Suddenly I tasted something metallic and felt a prickling pain at the back of my throat. So my finger in the back of my mouth, felt around to see if I was bleeding. Suddenly I felt the urge to vomit. The sharp taste of bile irritated the back of my throat. I clasped both hands over my mouth, but writhing in agony I was somehow able to hold back the nausea. I was finally able to breathe normally again, but this time my heart was intensely throbbing. It finally registered exactly what was mixed in with the mochi. If you think of the correct word, my hands were already on the move. Splat, plop, splort. Tossed the rest of the mochi against the wall. The geometrical patterns of the scattered bean gem on the wall suddenly evoked a terrible omen in my mind. After looking away, I dashed out the hall and flew upstairs to my room, where I stayed under the covers until morning. I clutched my own shoulders, howling madly in a mix of fear, anger, sadness, and frustration. This wasn't a threat or warning or reminder, nothing as simple as that. What had happened in the Himizawa? What is happening in the Himizawa? What would happen? I didn't know the answer to any of those questions. Where did I break a taboo? Regardless, now Rena and Mion and others, they consider me an enemy. They thought I should just die. I won't let you kill me. Not for such a pointless reason. I fell into a restless sleep as I crushed by the negative emotions. I was crushed by my negative emotions. It was as if I was being drawn into a billowy and bottomless marsh. Well, that's not good. Higurashi, when bad things happen. All the time. All the time. I see new tips. What's the medicine that makes you commit suicide? And threat. Oh, that sounds so great. Hard to swallow. Now, I remember in the original source, it's supposed to be ohagi. Alright, what's a drug that makes you commit suicide? Alright, let's read this. Let's cut to the chase. Is there a drug that can cause someone to kill themselves? Not directly, no. That's quite a roundabout response. You're saying there's one that does it indirectly. Something that puts you into a suicidal mental state like that? That's hard to say. What would a suicidal mental state be? Like a person with a serious bipolar disorder, it's believed that when people are most likely to have suicide, was swinging her depression to mania. Okay. Clinical depression and bipolar disorder are different. Clinical depression indicates a prolonged state of depression, whereas bipolar disorder is characterized by a passive depressed state accompanied by a very active manic state. Individuals with clinical depression suffer from low self-esteem and are quite pessimistic, but rarely commit suicide. They do not have the willpower to commit suicide, nor does mania on its own lead to suicide. That has the opposite effect, filling the person with confidence and make them feel as though they're walking on air. Thus, they do not commit suicide. That's interesting. Neither state causes suicide, but when the condition changes, they might do so. There is a desire to commit suicide when in a state of depression, but they do not have the willpower to commit such a formidable act. When they enter mania, they gain a burst of willpower and their body moves as they desire. I see. So it means they gain the willpower to commit suicide. That's how it goes. That's why patients are given sedatives during that time to keep them from acting on their impulses. Then was Tomitake bipolar? People who suffer from bipolar disorder generally commit suicide by more civilized means, like say hanging or jumping off a building. Self-harm as though going through withdrawal is completely different. Tomitake's death wasn't civilized, so one would think it was caused by some foreign substance. Hey, how's it going, Minato? As I said from the start, tell me of a drug that causes someone to commit suicide. There are reports that methamphetamines overdoses produce a condition that resembles bipolar disorder. It's a stimulant. Barbiturate overdoses are also reported to cause erratic behavior. That's a sleep aid. There were no signs of stimulants. Are there any other possibilities? All we can think of is that some sort of illness. Something like Graves' disease, which affects the thyroid, is known to cause symptoms that resemble bipolar disorder. But Graves' disease has many characteristic symptoms of its own. The diseased exhibit none of them. I wonder if there's something that could happen more spontaneously. Something that would fit this case and would cause someone to want to commit suicide all of a sudden. Are you familiar with organic mental disorders? In short, it's a condition where the brain is out of whack due to physical injury or illness. It can be caused by drugs, but it can also be caused by physical trauma, encephalitis, a stroke, or even tumors. Basically, even without a drug, one can succumb to an irregular mental state. The deceased was surrounded by after being chased and his life was in danger, right? All that stress could have messed with his brain chemistry, could have hit his head, and those factors combined might have caused him to mutilate himself. It's a possibility. Could you explain it to me in simpler terms? Bah, basically knocked his noggin in the brawl and that made him go haywire. Nah, ha, ha. Then his lady didn't have any intent to kill. Just smacked him in a bad place when he nicked some change. The two plump men laughed hoarsely. But of course it's not like that. Undoubtedly. If it was habitual drug use, if it was something mental, the deceased body holds the key. How are things on your end? Oh my goodness, look at the time. I need to get back soon or Kumo-chan will get angry at me. Yeah, good luck. Best wishes. Best wishes. Thanks, Corner Man. Alright, see you, Spicy. Threat. Those guys just now. They had national diet badges. Then his prefectural assembly member and city council were Sonozaki. That's interesting. The prefectural assembly member and city councilor are related. It's dirty is what it is. Shouting out each other's name during elections. While one is up for election, the other one holds an assembly, and they double up their campaign activities. Blatantly. I don't know much about this stuff, but isn't that against the rules of the election? As long as they have no prior consultation, there are no restrictions on their political activities. Kuma-chan, the investigation division is going to be pretty tough for you. Should at least brush up on election policies. I'm not suited for the intelligence division, because I'm dumb. Those are prefectural assembly member Sonozaki and city councilor Sonozaki. Also Mayor Hinamizawa. All of them involved with the Sonozaki family. What crap. Looks like they were seen off by the department chief and the deputy chief. Came to me. That night when the chief invited me along to get some Odin, I thought that was it. You have a lot of connections, so you might have heard something, did you? Nope, not a thing. Ma'am, I'll take a tofu fritter and fish cake. Counselor barked at me in the police chief's stead. Oh my, is that so? Ma'am, I'll take another bowl. Prefectural Assembly member Sonozaki and City Councilor Sonozaki were both intimidating. Our snot-nosed career police chief couldn't even handle being yelled at by them. They're like Yakuza. Petition when your name came up regarding how the investigation of the Himizawa incident is being handled. Goodness me. Oh, it's probably Oishi. I've not the faintest. No need to play dumb. You're reopening the past cases regarding Himizawa, aren't you? I've already got my hands full with Tomitake's death, actually. No, ha ha ha. Really? If that's true, then there's a problem. There's a period of silence. Or silently, we made headway on our food and drink. Dude, that was quite the feast. This must have been a bunch of losses for me. My wallet was feeling the pinch. Much appreciated. Nah, it's nothing. Tell me a good horse again. I'll bet on the same one as you. Nah, ha ha ha. I haven't been doing well there lately. I haven't been able to read the horses at all. Taxi. Plane by train. The police chief is taking a taxi. I have my own car, but it'd be rash to drive it home. Can't blow it right before retirement with a DUI. Even though he could still rattle off. Looks like his legs were already good. Goo. Pushing him into the cab, I gave the driver the police chief's address. I'll see you again tomorrow. Happy New Year. Oishi-san. Yeah. Past incidents have all been closed. Stop lumping them all together. Those villagers half believe it's really a curse. Well, I'm not convinced. You're going to be retiring next year, aren't you? Weren't you going to pay off your mortgage with your pension and move up to Hokkaido with your mom? Mother pines to return to the land of her birth. It's the least I can do. And the pension, well, will let me enjoy myself in Susukino. Nah, ha ha ha. Police chief may issue a special retirement salary raise, he says. Public servants' pension is calculated based on their monthly salary. If you were to get a raise right before retirement, your bonus to your salary would be inflated. And you get a heavy surplus of funds. That tends to be how it's done around here. Of course, it's not a custom that's thought of highly. The difference between the bonus and the pension is quite a bit. I expect nothing less exemplary from our egghead chief, but, well, our salary is compensation for our hard work. In the end, it really just has to do with the passage of time. That's something I can laugh at, but I'll laugh through it anyway. I don't think it's anything exemplary, but given how hard you work, it's not odd that you're getting that much of a pension. I'd like to get that much myself. If I can get it, well, of course I'd want it. Nah, ha 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 ha. You'll get it. You're an adult, after all. Sorry for holding you up here, driver. Thank you very much. Closed the door roughly, interrupting the chief's conversation a bit rudely. It looked like the chief still had something to say. He smiled wryly and waved. I waved in return. Cats sped up gradually and soon disappeared among the sea of lights. Nah, ha ha ha. Oh man. I wonder if I really can repay that loan. By the way, that's a very interesting threat. It's a very roundabout way of threatening someone. Be going, hey, you're retiring next year, right? And you know that they give out a bonus because your pension is based off of your end of term salary. Specifically, like they look at the last month. So how it works is, in this case, is they give you a raise in the last month that well exceeds your pay, so you get that as your retirement pay. And he's basically threatening that, like, and basically the guy is threatening Oishi by saying, oh, you know, you're getting like insinuating like, oh, but if you don't comply, they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. So we're at the end of chapter 9 now. Let's continue. Woo! Exactly an hour, give or take. Tap, tap, tap. Sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of the door to my room. A moment of silence, as if whoever they belonged to was ascertaining if I was inside. Of all things I should have been doing, I continued on with my restless slumber. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet. Even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror. Please just leave. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If they came to my room right now, then. Dead! Eck! Sprung to my feet and threw my covers as my mom was opening the door. Oh. Whoa, Keiichi, what's the matter? Sorry. I still half asleep. I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m., but the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. Felt nothing like morning. Yesterday I must have fallen asleep right after that. I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest, but it didn't feel like that at all. My internal clock was completely screwed and my sense of balance felt off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well. Well, Keiichi, how are you feeling? Can you make it to school? That's a good question. It's a good question, Mom. I was well enough to go, but I wasn't mentally prepared for it. I was still plagued with terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened? Or what if it had pierced my tongue? It was undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I don't think that's all it was. If you really want to kill me, then there were other more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow a needle. Meaning I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Rena and Mion. Aren't you glad you didn't die? But next time we'll use a more assured method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside would have been a joke compared to this. Did you make it to the hospital? Did you take your medicine? Yeah, kinda. You know, my mom's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. It's definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill. It'll be hard for you to get back on track once your daily routine is thrown off. By the way, guys, come on, get up. They say wellness is a state of mind. Just so you know, there are reasons why the mom is so pushy about Keiichi maintaining his routine of going to school and stuff. I'm not gonna spoil anything here, or rather, I'm not sure if it will make sense if I say anything here at this point about it, because it's kind of like you also kind of have to deduce it on your own over a long period of time of playing these games, or even watching the anime series, because basically the When They Cry Onikakushi-hen is literally the first 4 episodes of the first season of the anime. There's a ton cut out from the anime, but it's only the first 4 or 5 episodes. I think it's 4 episodes, not mistaken, for Onikakushi-hen. So there's a lot to this game. It's 4 question arcs, 4 answer arcs long. So there is some stuff to look at. Anyway, going back to this. I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance, but it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone. Come on, go wash your face. Breakfast is already ready. There isn't much time before Rena-chan comes to get you. Mom's tone meant I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping a second day. By the way, were you the one who got bean paste all over the living room wall, Keiichi? You shouldn't do something like that. Father was quite angry. I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mom didn't question me any further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. Mion said I should left yesterday. I hate it if you miss school tomorrow. Came back and dwelled in the back of my head. What did she mean by that? I didn't even have to really think about it. She was saying, don't be absent. Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any signs of acting unusual, it would probably result in them making their move. For example, maybe I shouldn't pay attention to someone like Oishi-san enticing me with something unusual. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth, or did anything differently from the norm, in effect it would end up flagging myself as someone who was not wanted. It seems that was something that the girls didn't intend to forgive. So if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Is that how it was going to be? All the misery I experienced up until yesterday would almost creepily just fade away. It wasn't an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard these last few days, I'd be able to keep living like normal. There's no way such a selfish thing could. Swallowed hard. Once again deliberate on the idea that I had just rejected. Mion. Probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rules of theirs, a chance. Was what I did really something so unforgivable? Mion giving me another chance. She was saying, if I just forgot everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven. Keiji, your food's getting cold. Hurry up and get down here. Rena will be here if you don't hurry. I'm coming. crammed my textbooks into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. Like the last day of my life. Picked at my somewhat bland breakfast. Seemed that I didn't have much time. It was already past when I usually met up with Rena. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be here in the next 5 minutes. I need to be ready to head to school by then. I have to forget everything that happened the past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I have to be where I normally meet up with Rena. Today of all days, the rice was dry and hard to get down. Ding dong. Jumped at that sound and dropped my chopsticks. That chime signaled that Rena had arrived. Mom hurried me along. Come on, Rena-chan's already here. Hurry, hurry. My mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. They're going to be surprised to see you alive. No, remember, it's just a warning. Honestly, I was reluctant to see Rena was waiting there on the other side of the door. Her on the other side, was it the Rena I knew? I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual. Morning! An invigorating greeting filtered in from across the doorway. I came since Keiichi-kun was a bit late. Will he be okay today? I wonder. The manner in which Rena was concerned was without a doubt the Rena I knew. That was probably only if I reciprocated. Get everything from yesterday, pretend as though nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment, forget about the mysterious deaths that happened the following years, forget about the people falling to their death, and the terminal illness and suicide, and the lynching, and the disappearances. Forget it, forget all of it. Forget if any meal were scarier, of course forget it all, forget about everyone. Forget about the mochi too, forget. Rena once again asked to make sure. Can you make it to school? Yeah, I'm fine. Great! Then let's go, Mi-chan is waiting. Rena showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of deceit in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief. Yay! Everything's normal ending. Nothing bad's happening ending. But you see, Satoko-chan was so insistent she could do it. As we were walking, Rena talked about a lot of different stuff, more so than usual. Then... Satoko-chan is clumsy, so she failed no matter how many times she tried. How? She was so cute! Everything Rena talked about was just silly nonsense, so I just replied every so often and laughed from time to time. It was a rather laid-back conversation. She made this goofy face that said she's gonna take something home, but whatever. Passed by one of our neighbors and they called out to us. Oh my, Keiichi-san and Rena-chan, aren't you two a bit late today? Mion-chan said she was going on ahead. Uh-oh. Did Mi-chan look mad, I wonder? We need to hurry up, Keiichi-kun. As he smiled and parted ways with our neighbor, they turned back towards me and stuck out a tongue. Not expecting that, I couldn't help but crack a smile. Ah, Keiichi-kun smiled. Well, what? Rena stopped and stared at me. I was thinking that you still hadn't recovered from your cold since you seemed down this morning, Keiichi-kun, but now you seem fine. With a grin, she gently poked my cheek with a bright, sincere smile. Hey, Keiichi Maebara. How can you still doubt Rena if she showed you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever up until today. I imagined everything I thought happened because I was bedridden and delirious. I really hope that was the case. If God would grant me just one wish, there's only one wish that I'd wish for. I would want what happened in the past few days, more specifically from the night of the Watanagashi up until last night, I wanted all of that to have never happened. I wonder how many times I'd wished for this past few days. As long as Rena kept on smiling like this, they might just become a reality. So I wanted Rena to keep on smiling. Keep on smiling. So Keiichi-kun, those mochi yesterday, did you eat them all? That vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. My heart began palpitating. The relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. Did you eat them, I wonder. Rena's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual. So the mochi yesterday, did you eat them all? Of course she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Rena was asking, did you get... Did you eat them all? Of course she was asking at face value. She's probably trying to convey that. Okay, yeah. Okay. Didn't miss it. Alright. Keiichi-kun. I was reluctant to give an answer. Rena stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes. Don't hesitate, Keiichi Maebara. Rena was acting the same as always, wasn't she? I need to respond in my usual way. Naturally, of course. Both my throat and my mouth had gone dry and my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time had passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something quickly. D? Rena playfully mimicked what I said when I finally squeaked something out. Her reaction was still normal. It seemed that there wasn't a long pause. It seems that there wasn't as long of a pause as I thought. And I can't read, so... Guys are physically stronger than girls, so run! Vanitas. Rena, however. So I finally squeaked out the rest. Delicious. I restrained efforts neither sully nor brighten Rena's expression. Or my panic thinking I had replied incorrectly. But after a few moments, Rena broke into her usual soft smile and giggle with a joyful voice. Seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by that laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well. I see. So did you eat all of them, I wonder? My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Was that what she was asking? If I swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here. Nah, I couldn't finish all of them. There's still some left. I was scared out of my wits, but that's how I played it. Huh. What about the homework to see if you could tell which one Rena made? Ahaha. That homework, was it due today? Yeah, it's due today. Mii-chan will get angry. There's probably a penalty game ready for you. We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, it was just a typical morning. I could just let myself believe, and even I think it was just the usual morning routine. I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of this giggling Rena. Lies! Called that unexpected piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Rena's mouth. The moment that image crossed my mind, and felt the cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only at that particular time that something evil had possessed Rena? No, that was wrong. That was still Rena. Oishi-san told me, didn't she? Actually, I looked into her. For Ryugu-san moved away to Hinamizawa. She was suspended from school. It seems she went through her school building and broke all the windows. Wow, I think just like, oh, well, that's a very charming Rena picture. Oh, let's look at it. Oh, look how cute she is. Looks like she just wants to eat you up. Rena had a disorder that normal people didn't. No matter how pleasantly she smiled, that fact would not change. I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of the moment. If it was some certain outburst of anger, then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all the windows throughout her school. Just imagine going through your own school breaking the windows with a bat. Just smile, guys. Man, that was a random sound effect. Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. The classmates aghast, unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. Walk, wind up. Walk, wind up. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with Rena smiling at me right now. Unless I imagine her smiling like this, in which case, oh, yeah, totes. I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. That naive way of thinking no longer worked. The unpleasant piercing sound of shattering glass, crunching noise as Rena treads across the broken shards, walking towards me. Rena's classmates going pale as they forget to even breathe. I wonder what they did as Rena came closer, breaking windows along her path. They earnestly tried to bring her to her senses by saying something. They jump at her as trying to stop her savagery. Or they run to the staff room after being directed there by the teachers. Probably none of those. In the face of that blood-curdling sight of Rena busting window after window, undoubtedly all they could do was silently clear a path for her. Dumbfounded, just clearing the path for Rena to continue. It's far too violent an act for them to seek refuge by looking the other way. Though that's to say they were looking the other way. They were doing the only thing they could to protect themselves. They had done something differently from the rest. They might suddenly found themselves as Rena's new target. What would Rena have done to attract her attention? The answer was obvious. She would have undoubtedly acted according to her whims. Meaning I would be the next window. Rena staring into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and crackling underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralyzed. Then Rena struck me with the bat over and over again like I was one of those windows. Crouched down on the floor, desperately protecting my head. Rena didn't care whether it was my head or my back. Zealously, she hits me again and again. What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. Her expression was so indifferent, it was completely unnerving. See? It's because no matter how many times she struck me, it didn't make as pleasant a sound as the other windows. She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Rena wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody saved me. Turning a blind eye unless we're hanging out. But of course, everyone in class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They gained nothing for sending a cram school tryhard like me. Eventually, there would be a faint sound similar to when you crack open a walnut and some sort of reddish-black spray would shoot out. Anyway, it wasn't that Rena momentarily lost herself in her anger. After forcing myself to breath and calming down my heart, I recalled what Oishi-san told me. And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all the conversations he had with Rena-san. It shows up, and quite a bit at that. What does? She mentioned the word Oyashiro-sama. Following that, Rena was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then as Rena was undergoing counseling, she had said it over and over, Oyashiro-sama. It seems that the Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost appearing in our house every night. This is nice. Thanks, Kasserole. I agree. Standing over her pillow, looking down at her. That was only a piece of their conversation, so I still couldn't see the big picture. It was by no means a happy little conversation. Then what Rena did? Was she saying that ghastly incident was the result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happened because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked to Oishi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were the work of men and not of some curse. Except if it was people perpetrating the incidents, my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that curse was real, then I would have to believe those who acted the kindest to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was Rena? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was Oyashiro-sama's curse. The aftermath, Rena had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. Felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. There wasn't a second side to Rena. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Rena's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. I knew. That was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my beliefs at my own convenience, saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Which was the better choice, accepting that Oyashiro-sama's curse exists? That Rena and the rest of them were deeply involved in a string of mysterious deaths. I didn't want to think about it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to continue the same as always. I wanted to believe that. But that was no longer possible. I received their message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend the meaning to my own convenience. Regardless of my opponent being a human or a curse, I won't let it kill me. As if I would just bend over and give in. For no good reason at all. Keiichi-kun, you've been making a really weird face. Why, I wonder. Inhaling sharply upon hearing Rena's voice, I came back to my senses. Before I realized it, we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exorcised all those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you looked at it, there's no way Rena could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself. Hey, how's it going, Fallen? A Christmas game around Christmas, Vanitas? I might. I'm still... And I think I just fell for one of Satoko's traps. That's what that boing sound was. I slid the door open, a blackboard eraser low with chalk dropped down on my head the moment I stepped into the classroom. Chalk dust wet into my eyes, inducing a brief moment of agony. How befitting for the truant Keiichi-san. Good morning to both of you, Keiichi and Rena. Good morning, Satoko-chan, Rika-chan. Oyashiro. Not quite in the mood for it, I didn't really react to Satoko's trap. Satoko braced herself as I passed by, expecting me to attack her. She seemed a bit disappointed I simply walked by silently. What is this? How discouraging indeed. Keiichi doesn't seem back to his usual self yet. Yeah, take it easy on him for today, Kei. Suddenly there was a slap down on my shoulder. It hurt a bit. Hey, Kei-chan. Did you get enough rest? It was Mion. I was full with the stuff about Rena, but Mion was also a party of interest. Remember Keiichi? That hawkish gaze from yesterday. Yeah. Morning. What's with that unenergetic greeting? Did you at least eat the mochi I brought for you? Because I ate them, I'm like this. Those words were itching to be blurted out. Really just didn't have the appetite. I ate a few, but quite a lot were left over. Huh? What about the homework? Do you have an answer for which one was Rena's? I can't believe you forgot your homework, Keiichi-kun. Ahaha. Sheesh, and we can't help it. Time for your penalty. Me. Flashing a lurid smile, Mion returned to her seat. Not Shion, or is she? Dun 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 dun. People don't even know who Shion is yet, Fallen. That's chapter 2. There's nothing from our exchanges that would cause our classmates to suspect anything was amiss. But of course, anyone listening to our conversation up to this morning wouldn't see anything suspicious. That was why it was so frightening. They acted in a way that, regardless of whatever happened to Keiichi Maebara, no one would ever suspect them. That fact had me terrified. Soon the teacher came. After she asked about how I felt and took attendance, another dull, ordinary day began. Nothing bad's gonna happen to me today. As I don't know. Maybe something bad will happen. We'll see. Every chapter is about an hour, guys, if you're wondering. This free study period was a convenient time to consider where I stood. I gently closed my eyes and pondered the ridiculous position I was in right now. First of all, what I shouldn't forget was how dangerous of a situation I was in. I had fallen out of favor with them. After interacting with Oishi-san multiple times, I could see it as I was getting closer to the heart of the matter. The warning yesterday with the mochi was a good indicator of that. No, calling it a warning was just my habit of understating things. Probably had no meaning beyond stunting my progress and buying themselves some time. Until they had a method of completely erasing me. They were just biding their time. Even though they were keeping me under their thumb with threats, it didn't change the fact that I knew too much. Chilling sensation on my desk made me recall Satoshi Hojo, the boy who was using the seat until last year when he disappeared. Yeah, this is Onikakushi. This is chapter 1. Was he also similar to me? Did he learn something he shouldn't have and was erased? Damn. I wouldn't let them get rid of me so easily. Never. Well, were they really trying to kill me? I've had these contradictory feelings for a while now. Even though I suspected them, I felt I had to cover for them. With all of their suspicious behavior, a morning like this just made it all seem like an elaborate hoax. No, that's just what I want to believe. Doubting my friends, covering for them. My life was in danger, or was it? Actually, I was debating the wrong point. Given my current situation, those points were something that should have been deliberated on a long time ago. Really, Rena and the rest of them, were they actually aiming to kill me? The little voice inside me continued to torment me with these unresolvable trains of thought. Yandere party. It's a Yandere party. Do, 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 do. And we're dead now. No. Actually, I would say that, are you an idiot, Keiichi Maebara? The answer should be obvious. But maybe that sewing needle might have been just an accident, right? How can you screw up and drop a sewing needle into a piece of mochi? The benefit of the doubt can only go so far. Both Rena and Mion had acted and behaved suspiciously. But maybe it was all some sort of a misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding? Wasn't just suspicious? It's outright ludicrous, right? Rena just corrected me for lying. Mion only asked me about what I had for lunch. Rena was standing outside our door eavesdropping for a good hour, you know? She was probably just waiting for my phone call to end. For a whole hour outside your room? Is it normal to go home afterwards without saying anything? You heard from Oishi-san, didn't you? About what Rena did at her formal school? But at the hospital, she said it was Oyashiro-sama's fault. Cut it out, Keiichi Maebara. Don't you realize they're out to kill you? I never really blurted those words out loud. Hearing myself say that so directly left me dumbfounded for a few moments. At first I had to look around to check if anyone else had heard it. My little soliloquy cut a little too close to the truth. That I could feel the murderous intent from Rena and the others. Part of me somewhere was still trying to deny that. This late in the game, such hesitation could be fatal. Yup, this is chapter 1. I knew that. But I was just your average student, a man living his normal, ordinary life. Do you think I could suddenly believe that my friends who I'd been happily laughing together with up until last Sunday now intended to kill me? Right? You're too soft, Keiichi. This time I remembered to keep my voice down so only I could hear it. There's one thing I now understood. I was too soft. I didn't completely understand how dangerous Rena and the rest of them were. No, I wasn't trying to understand. I was too soft for not listening to Oishi-san when he was earnestly showing me the heart of the matter. I didn't listen because I was too busy pretending to be dejected. I didn't comprehend it. I was just running away. I didn't comprehend it, so nobody had any notion to try and kill me. I need to get rid of such naive thoughts. As I made that resolution, I heard the bell signaling the end of class so soon. It was already over. I didn't recall eating lunch or doing anything in class. Friends were putting their desks in preparation for club activities. Not long ago, I would probably have happily jumped into that circle. My, Keiichi-san, how rude of you to even think about leaving. The way Satsuko spoke so typical and familiar, almost physically hurt. Huh? Keiichi-kun, is today not a good day, I wonder. And we're going to win big together. How? Seeing Rena's expression, which said she was really looking forward to today, was hard to take. Hey Keiichi, maybe Oishi-san was just some enormous jerk trying to separate me from the others by lying to me? My favorite character is actually probably Rika, Fruita Rika, of all the people. Which is a little bit weird for me because, like... But no, I have reasons for liking Rika the best. Slap. Trying to expunge this weak-minded thinking, I slapped myself in the face. Keiichi-kun? Yeah, was Rena really trying to kill me? I wish someone would tell me it was a hoax. I don't care if it was actually was one or not. I just want someone to say it was. Good, yet another weak-willed thought. How did I ever become this naive? Are you alright? Does your head hurt? Apparently that was how my inner dilemma appeared to Rena. You're pale. Can you make it home by yourself? Oh, you're pale. Can you make it home by yourself? Maybe I should accompany you home, I wonder. No, it's okay. Sorry. I can get home by myself. Just have the meeting without me. I hear that I wasn't going to participate in the club meeting. Me, pouted unhappily. Boo-boo! Since Kei-chan was so bent on a revenge match, we're even going to play that deduction game from before, too. Keiichi-san doesn't have the burning desire for a rematch? How pathetic! I wouldn't fall for such dumb taunt. Without even a real retort, I just grabbed my bag and was about to get up. Someone's hand perched itself gently on my head. Keiichi doesn't seem to be well. How very unfortunate. It was Rika-chan. She stretched up as far as she could, doing her best to pat my head with her petite hand. Felt so nice, which made things even harder. Sorry, everybody. See you. That's all I said as I quickly left the classroom. This said something to me as I was leaving, but I couldn't make it out. Managed to make it all the way to the entrance in that state of mind, took out my shoes, put them on, and went forward. Harden that heart, Keiichi Maebara. They were, for some unfathomable reason, trying to kill me. They were plotting something dubious, watching my every move. But I couldn't take them. Because weren't they my friends? Part of me lamented my naivety, while another part of me lamented the fact that I had lost something important by lamenting over it in the first place. Felt like my consciousness was being ripped out of my body. This was what Oishiro-sama's curse was like. It was just too harsh. Hey Oishiro-sama, I was wrong for not believing in your curse. But we believed in it now, completely. Your curse does exist. So seriously, give me a break. Beg you, come on. Come on! What? I picked up Rena's speech pattern because I repeated something twice. Twice? I'm normal, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. Dinner was unusually bland. I had no flavor or aroma. The miso soup that normally tantalized my appetite instead tastes like nothing but boiled water. That was eating it with us that night. It was a rare occurrence in this household. When he got into his work, he ate and slept on his own schedule. Dad never cared about the time. So my dad was at his dinner table. Either meant he had just received a good point to take a break or he was in a slump. So yeah, he just doesn't understand the motivation creators have. Your partnership was just a verbal agreement, wasn't it? If it's so hard to agree on things, why not just end it? I feel like it's an industry with a lot of back scratching, but when it gets in the way of business, I wasn't able to pick out much of my mom and dad's conversation, but I could tell it wasn't a very pleasant topic. That of course made the discussing food even less appealing. Staring listlessly at the exchange between my parents, my mind wandered off to the same thought process I had going all day. Friends close to me? No. They used to be friends, but I could no longer trust them. Right now I was greatly lacking in allies. People I trusted, people I could depend on. When push came to shove, they were something I just didn't have. Having just one ally would have been incredibly reassuring in the currently hopeless situation I was in. Put down my chopsticks and looked over at my parents who were still talking about work. The first course of action that came to my mind was to tell my parents everything. Currently there wasn't a single person from Hinamizawa I could trust 100%. That meant the only people I could trust were my parents. But if I told them everything that happened up till now, would they understand? Rena, for example. That neighborly Rena who was so diligent in looking after me, came to get me every day. Sometimes brought over a share of what she made. How could I explain that she wanted to kill me? No matter how I explained it, it would probably be difficult for anybody to comprehend. My somewhat eccentric dad wouldn't understand. My high-strung mom would probably drag me off to a psychiatrist in the blink of an eye. Sadly, that was the amount of trust that existed in our relationship. Even if they did come to understand, what could they possibly do? Unless they could uncover the truth, they wouldn't be able to protect me. No, by informing them of these unnecessary things, I'd be putting my parents in danger as well. Considering that the victims in past incidents were often married couples, I couldn't even joke about it. For the entire Mairaba family to have an accident or to just vanish into thin air was easily possible in Hinamizawa. See you falling. I'd be taken home. This is not the end, guys. This might be. Just to be... Actually, no, there's probably quite a bit more to go. I bet there's at least, like, this chapter and one more. At the minimum. What was important here was that knowing something unnecessary put you in danger. The most unsettling question was, how did they know that I knew? As long as they didn't know, my parents might not fall victim. That was one of the ways to think about it, I guess. At least it was like that in my case. After I found out, things started becoming odd. In other words, it meant the following. As long as my parents didn't know anything, nothing would happen to them. As long as my parents were here, this house would be a safe haven for them. I knew these were just assumptions based on conjecture on top of conjecture. Wanting this house to be a safe haven, that was the pinnacle of my weak-willed method of thinking. I had to concede that it was not completely safe. It was only safer than the outside. I knew that I couldn't rely on my parents. No, I couldn't risk getting my parents involved. Then the only person who could be my ally would be Oishi-san. Oh, him and him alone. He was the only person who understood the situation I was in. He didn't care so much about my safety, but he was without a doubt passionate about solving this case. It was a bit frustrating. Oishi-san was basically the whole reason I was in this mess, and now to get out of it I had to rely on him. Meaning it was all going according to his devices. It was just my job to look appetizing while bobbing in the waves as bait. When the fish started gathering around, Oishi-san would pull up the big haul. It was slightly infuriating, but even I thought that was the best course of action. So then what should I do? Patience was the first rule of fishing. Just keep waiting until the fish actually bites. I wasn't simply bait. There were lots of ways for me to struggle before being devoured. When they struck, I need to somehow dodge just enough and tag out to Oishi-san. No question, it was going to be hard. The timing to bring Oishi-san in would be difficult. He was in the city, not Hinamizawa. So if I phoned him in the moment of my need, it would take him about 30 minutes to reach me. So I need to run away for those 30 minutes. For example, if he set up a rendezvous point for dire situations or something, I just have to hide out there until Oishi-san arrived. Okay, I almost see it now. I was still being chased around in the dark by boogeymen, but now I knew which way to go. I would never have imagined this to be so reassuring. Oh yeah, it would probably be best if I had concealed a weapon for... If I concealed a weapon for things to get rough. There you go. Typically that would call for a switchblade, but that wasn't too reassuring for combat. Also, since it was recognized as a weapon by the public, that also wasn't good. Really, when the time comes, a long weapon like a bat would work in my favor. I remember there was a metal bat at school. I could be confident with that when push came to shove. But pretending I was practicing my swing, it wouldn't be suspicious for me to always carry it around. I could go to school early tomorrow and secure it. Just possessing a weapon may be enough to deter them. Also, one more thing. Insurance. It could be something like a note or memo. I could write down everything that happened in a sort of journal. In case it suddenly vanished, the journal would be left behind. With a journal in his possession, Oishi-san should be able to avenge my death. Left my parents engrossed in their conversation about work and went back to my room. I tore out a piece of paper from a notebook and made my way to my desk. Last time I wrote a journal was for summer homework in elementary school. The off chance something bad happened, the police could use my diary as a lead, so I should only write down the facts. How should I start? I jotted down my thoughts as they came. I, Keiichi Mayabara, am in fear for my life. When we laughed nervously, it was a line that showed up often in detective stories. Never even dreamed that I would be in the type of situation where I write it myself. I do not know why they are after my life. Rena and the others were suspicious, but I had no proof. And that's why I couldn't write anything more. I laughed right at myself for writing such a passage straight to mystery. Please be able to get the hint from reading this enigmatic passage. I could only pray that they would. What I prayed for the most, though, was that this journal never needed to play its part. Here I laughed nervously. It was too simple, so I wrote down one more line I just thought of. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Is that too much? Probably shouldn't write more than that. If I wrote any more, then it would seem like I was just delusional. In order to appear to the reader that the person I've written this was of sound mind, I chose not to write anything else at that point. I just need to add more as I learned more about the truth. I folded the paper and thought about a place to hide it. By hiding it somewhere obvious, there was a chance that they would uncover it instead. On the other hand, if it was too obscure, the location, then there was a risk of nobody finding it at all. Then I decided to take the clock on my wall and stick my folded note on the back of it with scotch tape. Then I put the clock back to its normal position. Yeah, didn't look like anything was hidden behind it. Now I need to set it up such that if anything happens to me, my parents could find it. Looked at it from countless different angles until I was satisfied and made my way downstairs. While nobody expects the Sonozaki Inquisition, parents were still talking about work. Didn't look like it was going to end anytime soon, so I cut in. Sorry to interrupt. I have something I want to talk to you about. I'm going to start off a conversation like that before my parents were both startled to stop talking and turn toward me. What is it, Keiichi? I feared to ask you. Please listen. Just in case, yeah? It's not urgent. Can we do this later? Right now, Mommy and Daddy have something urgent they're talking about. I didn't think their talk was more urgent than mine. In case I started seeing my crest. Just in case, okay? If I die. My parents' eyes went as wide as saucers. If I die, I need to put the clock on my wall in my coffin. If they did that, then they'd probably find it. My memoir. Well, my parents were made wide-eyed, not moving an inch. I couldn't blame them. I made that clock in shop class, and I really like it. So please. What's the matter, Keiichi? Did something happen? Mom was finally able to ask me with the questioning gaze. Of course, this was a normal response for when someone's son suddenly decided to talk about a subject like this. Felt bad about making them worry, but right now I just wanted them to think about the clock in my room. The awkward mood leaving the room, so I had to go back to my room. I want to get to school early tomorrow, so I'm going to bed. Good night! Our son's crazy! Nice way to break the ice. Right, Finny? Yeah. Thanks! Hey, parents! I know you're arguing about work and stuff, but I have one thing to say. Is it important? Can it wait? If I were to die... What? Can you just, bury the clock with me in my coffin? Because I really like it. Wait, what? Good night! What? What's wrong with our son? Saying only that, I left the living room. I need to get back to school early tomorrow and secure that bat. I should make today last day I went to school at Rena. As I climbed the stairs, I heard my mom call my name, but I pretended not to hear her. It wasn't something I could talk about with my parents. If I talked about it, it would only make things more dangerous. The fight that had begun was mine and mine alone. I couldn't rely on anybody. I wouldn't be killed. Not when I still knew nothing. Yeah, you know. Not feeling so hot. Dun, dun. Chasing shadows. Why is it chasing shadows? Who's not feeling so hot? Who's not feeling so hot today? Keiichi-kun's been feeling down lately. Maybe he's in a bad mood. I wonder. Maybe he's on his period. Me-chan, that's gross. Yeah. What do you think? Don't know. Could be that Kei-chan, maybe. Could it be that Kei-chan, maybe? I don't know. That day Kei-chan was in that car talking to some tubby middle-aged guy, right? Yeah, no mistake. That Oishi's probably fed him some fishy... He was so serious. Kei-chan's face was so pale. You see, might not know this, but he's actually the messenger of Oishiro-sama. Huh? What do you mean? Whenever he shows up, someone is demoned away. No lie. Oh? Is that so? The year before last, when Rika-chan's mom drowned, right? Right before that, she was visited by Oishi. Now that you mention it, it happened before Satoshi couldn't transfer it out. Transferred? Ah ha ha ha. You're so sweet, Rena. So this time he's appeared before Keiichi-kun. So Keiichi-kun is going to be demoned away too? An empty silence hung in the air, and there was suddenly by loud laughter. Oh! Oh no! Alright guys, do you remember the conversation? Do you remember the conversation that Keiichi heard about Oyoshiro-sama between and Satoshi being transferred by Mion and Rena? That was that conversation in its entirety. Yeah, exactly. That's the conversation that they're having because they're worried about Keiichi, though, huh? Because of what happened the last time Oishi came around. That's interesting. Think about that. It's going to be very important. It's going to be very important. We're going to go with one more chapter, guys. We can't stop here. Can't stop. This was the first time I had ever woken up with such clarity. It was 5:59, just moments before my alarm would go off. I was amazed at the precision of my internal clock. I made preparations for the next day of school before I went to bed. Changed quickly and descended to the deserted lower floor. Too bad my mom was still asleep. Neither breakfast nor lunch was ready. Yesterday I just unilaterally declared that I would be leaving early today, so it couldn't be helped. I slathered jam on some bread and topped it with instant cocoa. Just as I was finishing up breakfast, Mom rose groggily from her slumber. My Keiichi, you're up early. Is there some sort of school event? Not really. Answering bluntly, I picked up my bag and stood after stuffing 2 slices of bread down my throat. You're leaving already? What about lunch? If you don't wait a bit, I can't make it. I waited for her to make my lunch, and it would end up being the same time as usual. If we did that, it would raise the chance of me running into Rena and Mion on the way. As for today onwards, I was going to go to school alone. I'll be fine for today. Then what will you do for lunch? I'll slip out and buy some bread or something at the store. Really? Then here's some lunch money. Be sure to bring me back the receipt. Took the 1,000 yen bill from Mom and slipped it into my pocket. It's pretty early. Is Rena-chan up this early as well? No, just me. Do you tell Rena-chan that you're leaving early? I have no reason to tell her every little detail now, do I? Finding it difficult answering the onslaught questions that made an annoyed face. Tell Rena that I went ahead when she comes. Hey, Keiichi, wait! It's not that I didn't trust my parents, I just couldn't rely on them. They couldn't help me, and I could only hope that they didn't get involved. It was safer that way. A demon? My mom's annoying voice was cut off by the slam of the door. First time since I moved here, I headed down the road to school alone. Because... Up until now, I'd always walked down the same path at the same time each day. I always met with the same people at the same places. Today was different. I didn't meet the people I would normally, and nobody was at the places where I would have normally met them. Of course, Rena wasn't in the spot where we usually met. There wasn't anyone at the spot where we would have met up with Mion. The length of the tree's shadows, the morning air, and the brightness of the sun. It's a completely different type of morning from what I was used to. Without a doubt, it felt strange. It'd be like me walking to school. When I was a kid. In grade school, anyway. It left me with the impression that I had destroyed the illusion humans had set up for me before it had enough time to prepare all the props needed to deceive me. My Keiichi-kun, you're so early early today. Is everyone meeting early this morning? The person who called out to me was someone we always walked past as they were taking a walk along the edge of the fields. Her name was, I forgot. Of course, this wasn't the spot where we usually pass each other. I woke up early today, so I thought it would be a good change of pace. That's all. I threw out a random excuse. What about Rena-chan and Mion-chan? Are you by yourself today? Well, yeah. I was being asked the same type of questions my mom was asking, so I answered them in the same uninteresting, vague manner. It wasn't funny being asked where Rena was each time I passed by someone. Maybe it was to be expected. It's because for so long we were always together so amicably. Even I felt that if I let my guard down we could still be friends. Stop it, Keiichi. Don't think about that anymore. Spent all day yesterday thinking about how dangerous it was to go soft, didn't you? Oh, Oishi's the culprit? Beep beep! Car horn blared from out of nowhere. Though I was walking, lost in thought, that horn was way too close. Mechanical behemoth barreled at me from behind, catching me completely off guard. By the time I turned around, the van's hulking chassis was almost on top of me. I'd seen plenty of cars veer to the opposite soldier avoid pedestrians. This car was doing the opposite. It felt like there was somebody on the opposite shoulder and the van was swerving in my direction to avoid them. That blissfully ignorant train of thought delayed me from realizing so much more important. That large mass was hurling right at me. Was it going to hit me? Inside my head instantly flooded with painfully cold liquid. That moment, the scene before me, no, time itself had frozen. In the silence of that frozen moment, I compared the van, so close that I had no way to dodge it, and my body, the upper half twisted awkwardly in order to look behind me. There was no way I could dive out of the way in my current position. I lost focus now at this moment would unpause, and I would probably be plowed over, caught in this silly pose. Bend my upper body over towards the patio by the side of the road. If I bent far enough, I get away with just being hit by the side view mirror. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, the temporal stasis was shattered by the deafening sound of the van. The cyber struck my shoulder, sending me spinning off through the air like a top, locked in my controller position. Kasplash. Sent tumbling through the air, I crashed onto the muddy patio by the side of the road. My entire body was soiled and drenched. But the choice I had made in that instant was unmistakably for the best. It was covered in mud, but when that alternative was being hit by the car, it was the closest I could be to being unscathed. Rising out from the patio, I had enough in me to glare out over at the stopped van and yell profanities at the driver. Not sure if he was able to see me, but the van sped off suddenly. Wait, damn it! This is what they call a hit and run, wasn't it? Couldn't help but continue yelling out profanities. The disgrace for being covered in mud hurt me more than any physical wounds. Slogged through the muddy patio and made my way back into the road. This is a crime, goddammit. Shit, I'll track you down and see you. Go looking for a van, I'm sure to find it in this little village. The path I was on had rice paddies on either side, and it had become so narrow that one car could barely fit through. It wasn't a place you could tear full speed down in a car, let alone pass by pedestrians. Not only was it a narrow road, the car just now was closer to my side of the road than the other when it went past me. To prevent that curse, I was desperately trying to suppress the dark cloud rolling up within me. This wasn't just a hit and run. That car just now was trying to run me over, wasn't it? The girls are the good guys and Oishi is the culprit. You never know, right? Thinking back, I did feel like there had been a car creeping up on me slowly for a while now. That's right, as soon as I parted ways with that person taking a walk, I had that feeling the whole time. If he had wanted to pass me, there had no shortage of chances. Normally I would have felt suspicious and turned around sooner. But I was lost in thought, and I was kicking myself for not realizing it was there sooner. And then, when the path became narrow and there was no one else in sight, he floored it. If I had hesitated for even a moment, the result would have been no laughing matter. As the adrenaline rush from nearly being run over subsided, and the realization of just how terrifying the preceding events were sunk in, there was no choice about it. That van was intentionally trying to hit me. Cold, vicious sweat seeped from my scalp and slid down my back before dribbling off. I struggled to avoid falling into a panic. There was still the possibility that this was really just an accident. Calm down, Keiichi. But also don't be so naive, Keiichi. Being that lax will get you killed next time. And to always be on your toes. Don't give them any openings. If my enemy was really out to kill me, then next time, they would use a more reliable method. The time came and I was acting like I was now. I being covered in mud was the price I had paid for my own naivety. Covered in mud but without injury. Not even a sprain. I guess this was what you would call the silver lining. I began walking again, this time cautiously. I wouldn't even show a hint of carelessness. I suspected only Rena and the others up to now. No, it's because I suspected them that I believed there were no other enemies. Oishi-san had said so, didn't he? There was a possibility that all the families of the village were involved. Were they really mired so deeply in this situation that I had no choice but to try and carry on as usual? Wouldn't it be the safest just to hold myself up in my house? The moment I abandoned my regular routine, everyone around me would abandon theirs as well. That was just too horrifying of a thought. Car? You mean like cars? Seems like staying with the girls would be safer. You never know, man. Recall the tales Oishi-san told me of when Hinamiza was still called Onikakushi. Frightening tale of an entire village of demons hunting their prey, surrounding them and eating them alive. One must not interfere with the demons, one must pretend not to see it. The enemy were numerous, all the village families. The villagers with their unwavering faith in the curse would do nothing to help me. The strong sudden flash of sunshine made me slightly dizzy. I had no idea what was going on anymore. When I suspected it was the work of a man, I would catch a glimpse of Oishiro-sama's curse. And when I suspected it was Oishiro-sama's curse, someone would poke their head out. What was coincidence? What was intentional? Who was my enemy? Who was just a bystander? No, what I really truly want to know was, how did I end up with the proverbial bullseye painted on my back? Eventually an answer in a form I can understand will appear. I don't care when that will happen, because until then I cannot die. That alone fueled my resolve to fight and will to keep me alive. Van is a stand, right? I remember seeing the metal bat in the gym storage shed, but there was a padlock on the door barring my entry. At the very least, I wanted to get my hands on it before everyone else arrived at school. Circle around school grounds impatiently. But all I could find were things like pieces of lumber, nothing I could bring into the classroom easily. I had an epiphany. I searched inside the classroom. If there was something in the classroom to begin with, then there wouldn't be a problem. I could tell that everyone's indoor shoes were still in their lockers. Good thing I came early, nobody else was here yet. I wonder what could I find in the classroom. I didn't think I could find an especially effective weapon like a bat, but it couldn't be helped at this point. Until the gym storage shed was open, I need to find a substitute. A lingering hint of naivety whispered that there was no way I'd be attacked at school. Such soft ideas would no longer protect me. To think that they were slowly making their way into parts of my life that I once thought impenetrable. The worst case, my own house might not be safe anymore. That was an incredibly frightening thought. But I believe that not considering the worst case scenario would have been even more frightening. Anyway, I will survive. Anyways, I will survive. I will survive. So long as I live, then I will definitely be able to escape this labyrinth of nonsense. Wait, what? Definitely. My exploration of the classroom came to an impasse. Not much was to be expected. There was no way there would be anything that could be a weapon in the classroom. In case of emergency, there was probably nothing to do but swing my own chair around. Gaze landed on the lockers that had come to be used for personal storage. The locker that Mion used to store a pile of games was among them. There was one for each person in the class, all lined up. Of course, there was one for me as well. There was supposed to be still a tracksuit in my locker. Seeing me covered in mud would be strange. I should go change later, but first I need a weapon. If one of my classmates came, it would be hard to rummage through all the lockers. So we began opening lockers one by one. They were mostly just filled with things like gym clothes, personal items, and umbrellas. If I couldn't find anything better, then this would have to be my weapon. I was about to give up on finding exactly what I wanted when I opened a lock that held exactly what I wanted. I was about to give up on finding anything decent when I opened a locker that held exactly what I wanted. It was without a doubt a metal bat. It was well worn and pretty beaten up, but there was no doubt it was usable. That locker that reeked of mold, there also hung a baseball uniform. Probably the locker of a student in a Pee Wee League or something like that. If that was the case, then he probably asked for it back. That time I could hear the voice of the children scuffling their way noisily in from the hallway. Amongst them I could make out Rika-chan and Satoko. Good morning. My, you're quite early this morning, Keiichi-san. I nonchalantly hid the bat I was holding behind my back. What is with your outfit? You're covered in mud. Yeah, I had a little incident. I'm going to change now, so cut me some slack. That said, I began taking off my clothes. Satoko began to blush as I expected her to. Changing in front of a lady! Have you no tact at all? Nothing happened falling. A car just tried to hit Keiichi and he dove for the mud patties. I would think that a lady staring at someone who was changing would be the one lacking in tact. There's no changing room for the boys, so just deal with it. As Satoko feigned disgust, she went into the hall, still blushing. Conversely, Rika-chan continued to stare at me, preparing to change. If Rika-chan is a lady as well, then I don't think it would be appropriate for you to be watching. I'm not a lady, so it's fine. She deliberately pouted and looked at me with upturned eyes. And sorry, now you're a lady. If I'm a lady, then I suppose I must. Rika-chan appearing to be satisfied with being considered a lady, made her way to join Satoko in the hallway. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, Rika-chan stopped suddenly and turned back toward me. Are you going to start playing baseball? Seems that Rika-chan noticed the bat. Yeah, just, you know, I was feeling a bit out of shape, so I thought I'd just try practicing my swing. I think it's wonderful you're taking care of your health. She was talking like an old lady despite her appearance. After saying that, Rika-chan started to leave again, but stopped and looked back at me once more. Please don't lose the bat. Oh, please don't lose that bat. Seems I already knew I took it out of someone's locker. There was no name on the locker door. I didn't know whose bat it was, but I would be borrowing it until they complained. It wouldn't be for long, just until the gym storage shed was open. Quickly changing into the tracksuit, I checked the time. So I had plenty of time before class began because I came so early. Yeah, you know, took the bat in one hand and went out to the schoolyard. That was, of course, to practice my swing. I needed to make it known I would always have a bat on me so I could practice my swing. At some point, sunlight had become even stronger. Disregarding my classmates as they made their way to school, I took my position in the shadow of a school building. I wasn't the academic type, and I wasn't much of an athlete either. I might get muscle pain if I just suddenly started swinging. I should at least start out with some warm-ups. Doubt anyone would think I was doing something out of the ordinary, which was the exact opposite of my actual mental state. I gripped the bat and swung lightly. The bat was by no means light. The weight would make it a reliable weapon when I needed it to be. Of course, I could only pray that the moment I needed to use this as a weapon would never come. Just carrying it around could deter attacks against me. At least that's what I hoped. Huh? Kei-chan! What are you doing? Being bombarded with such a hysterical voice, I jumped. Whoa, Keiichi-kun, are you on the baseball team? The baseball team? It was Rena and Mion. I was surprised to hear you went off ahead. What are you doing, Kei-chan? Can't you tell by looking? Practice my swing for the championship. Say it's part of my diet if you want. Diet? Kei-chan, are you really that fat? But you didn't know I actually have a beer belly. Plump and jiggles. Plump and jiggles? Rena, you don't have to imagine something weird like that. To disrupt Rena from imagining something that vulgar, I ruffled her hair messily. Well then, hope you make it to the regionals at least. This old man will cheer you on. Regionally speaking, seems that Oshima High is pretty strong. They say their southpaw Kameda-kun is amazing. Good luck! Seems that they made me out to be some kind of local prodigy, but oh well. Well, if I really did make it to the championship, it would be a cinch. After all, I'd be the pitcher and catcher. I'd pitch the ball, then run past that ball, just through and change over to being the catcher in a burst of super incredible explosive speed. I laughed dryly at that ludicrous image. The anime has some really good random moments, yeah, it's true. Coming back to my senses, I smashed the bat against the ground. Okay. Damn it! What am I laughing at? I pounded the ground over and over. With each impact, the reverberation traveled through the bat, stung my hands. They made me smile like that. Don't allow anyone close to me. Don't trust anyone. No matter how many times I tell myself that. They made me smile like that. I already knew quite well that they were demons dwelling in my smiling friends. But I just couldn't believe it. That kind of split personality really exists? Like how Rena confessed to the doctor. Were they simply being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? In other words, did a supernatural being like Oyashiro-sama really exist, and was it possessing everyone to try and kill me? Yeah, that would be wonderful. If only everyone were actually my friends all along. Everything was all just Oyashiro-sama's fault. Damn fool, Keiichi Maibara! Come on now! Yelled out, drawing out all the power from the pit of my stomach and raised the bat violently into the air. Stop being so soft! As I screamed out with all my might, I beat the metal bat into the ground over and over. The impact of my weakness was being beaten down. Smash. Forget it. Smash. Don't be soft. Smash. Know your enemy. Smash. Like hell, I'd let them kill me. My shoulders heaving up and down from my ragged breathing, I heard the first bell ring just as it calmed down. Yeah, but you have to start somewhere. Oyashiro-sama. Gasped with a sudden realization. That was the final bell. As I felt all the tension drain from me, I let out a deep breath. I was in a muddled state for much of the entire day. It didn't feel like I was awake, but it didn't feel like I was asleep either. I couldn't say it felt especially comfortable, but I felt kind of a relief that the sanctity of the school part of my daily life had yet to be violated. How long would I have to keep on living like this? I can only grit my teeth and bear with it as this living hell slowly gnawed away at me. Keiichi-kun, come on! It's club time, club time! The sound of Rena's voice brought me back to my senses. Come on, Kei-chan, stop spacing out. Bring your desk. Your desk. Everyone was moving their desk as usual. Something got lost there. Sorry, it was a happy, fun club time. I had no intention of taking part. I think that was supposed to be Rena's line fully. So the fact that she referred to me as Kei-chan is weird. I think that's a typo. Yo, Vanitas, you should totally watch the anime. It's very interesting. And as of very recently, all of it is out in the States. So if you actually want to buy it or watch it, I think you are able to somewhere. And the dub's not bad. If you prefer dub over the subtitles and watching the original Japanese, dub's not bad at all. Oh, Kai had some really good moments. And yeah, I watched like all of it. And actually, I actually played like the later chapters of the game too. But that's, I don't know. Higurashi Kai is the second season of it, Vanitas. That's why. Second season of the anime. Yep. That's right, it was a happy fun club time. Happy fun club time! But I had no intention of taking part. I haphazardly stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag and I prepared to go home. It's a weak-handed gesture to avoid having to actually say I'll be going home now. What's this, Kei-chan? Planning on going home right away again? Mion sounded quite disappointed. Just not in the mood. Could you just let me be for a while? Tone of the words that spilled from her mouth matched Mion's disapproving glare. Felt like the air in the room had dried out. Satoko looked like she was about to say something, but perhaps dissuaded by the mood, swallowed her words and stayed silent. Nobody said a thing. I took that to mean that I could leave if I wanted. The collective gaze of the four of them, like the tiny pins used to mount an insect in a display, held me in place. Rena was the one who cut through the heavy mood. Keiichi-kun, you just didn't like playing with girls, I guess. She said in such a melancholic tone that it sent a wave of pain racing through my heart. This pain was going to kill me. I wanted it to be the soft part of me that could still feel pain. I tore up my chest, finally tearing out the pins that held me in place. That's not it at all! I will be hurting myself by saying anything more, so I swallowed my words. Cutting things off there, I turned and exited the classroom. They didn't speak a word to me as they left. Aww. This is the full version of the game. It's fun! Oh man, you should see the original graphics of the game. It is really, really interesting. It was a long, dull trip back home, but I didn't lose focus. Firmly squeezed the grip of the bat, which was already soggy from sweat. Realizing that, I wiped it down with my sleeve. If something were to happen, I wouldn't want it to be slippery. Since this morning, I've become especially sensitive to the presence of cars. Even while walking, my ears pricked up and sought out threatening sounds and presence that could be closing in. And that was why I could hear it. Without a doubt, there were footsteps. Those footsteps had matched up perfectly with mine for a while now. For all I could sense, it was just one person, but I had no intention of being careless. Did you intend to follow me like that car this morning, to were in a good location to assault me? It wasn't a good idea to keep walking like this. I stopped walking and looked back. The wooded path, crowded with streets, responded with silence, as if there was no way there to begin with. But I wouldn't be fooled. I was certain footsteps were following me, and just as I stopped, the footsteps stopped just as well. Meaning the person following me wanted to keep their distance. That was without question proof that was their target. Yep, the original visual sound novel is like... No, it's okay, you can say VS, because it's technically a visual sound novel. So... Oh, yes! The answer to Mion's stun gun is actually really funny. It's actually very funny. I won't say anything about it though. But if you want to like hit me up like elsewhere to find out that answer, because it's a bit of a spoiler, but not really. It's like interesting knowledge or trivia that I picked up. Anyway, that was what I was their target. Yes. I held my breath, waiting for that presence to panic and start moving again. The trees rustled with the sound of the wind. The Higurashi also joined into the dissonant chorus, trying to throw my focus into disarray. I have the answers. Had 5 minutes passed? Or I'd been like this for a whole 30 minutes. It was so hard to breathe that I might have suffocated. It seemed I would be the first one to panic. Without a doubt, he was lurking in the shade of that tree with bated breath. Then I'd make the first move. I fixed my grip on the back. I raised it up to my shoulders to be ready to swing at any time. Hey, I know you're there! With all my might, I screamed out at whoever was hiding in the shade of the trees. But presence in the shade didn't budge. Till the moment I found them, they had no intention to reveal themselves. I know already. I know you're there! I screamed out angrily at them again, but even still, they didn't move at all. Then I'll go over there myself. Hit me on Twitter? Please don't be with a bat or a billhook. With all due vigilance, I approached step by step. Stepping into the tree's shadow, I saw a human figure there. That figure was curled up like a small animal. Rena! She realized I had found her expression softened. She seemed apologetic, but wasn't going to speak a word. Do you have some business with me? I wouldn't accept that silence, screamed a question at her. Not really, it's just, Rena was in a panic with tears welling up in her eyes. It was obvious that she had been following me. What about the club? Since you're not, I'm not. That shouldn't matter. Don't mind me, just play. But I'm just worried about you. It's about how I've been acting up until now. It wasn't hard to imagine that my behavior could have been perceived as strange. So Rena was concerned. At a quick glance, that's how it would seem. I wasn't going to let my guard down that easily. If that was really the case, she still wouldn't have to do something like try to tail me. She should have called out to me when I was leaving and gone out right with me. Rena didn't do that. She kept her distance from me and matched my walking speed. On top of that, she matched the sound of her footsteps and deviously tried to hide her presence from me. Then, after she realized, I noticed she was there. She held her breath as she tried hiding from me. She wore a timid expression that would force one to take pity on her. Without a doubt, she was tailing me. It's Oyashiro-sama. Actually, there's some interesting things I could point out here. Stop following me. How? So glaring at Rena, I continued walking onwards. After I walked for a bit, she ignored my command and began walking again, so I yelled at her once more. Told you not to follow me! Eek, but my house is in this same direction. Then walk ahead of me. Start walking once I can't see you anymore. Moved out of the way and waved my bat violently to urge her forward. I'd like to go home together with you. Making a pitiful expression, she meekly squeaked out the words in a voice that she knew would cut into my heart. That agitated me to no end. I knew it was a lie. If you wanted to go home together, you should have called out to me. Now you're just blurting out random lies. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. See that the seething anger within me was written all over my face. Without me saying anything, Rena had understood what I was feeling inside. Get it, then go. Swung the bat, urging her again to walk. Rena looked back and forth between me and the bat and started walking hesitantly, then stopped again. Go on then. Hurry. I'm going. So please stop with the bat. It's scary. Rena guarded herself while pointing at me, holding the bat. She may have realized that I wasn't planning on using this bat for baseball. I lowered the bat, but still guardedly opened the way for her. Go. There's no problem now, is there? Paranoia. Bugs. Paranoia. Plot twist bugs. That's always true. She's going to kill you. Bugs. Bugs Bunny. Oh no, Bugs Bunny! There's nothing else she could protest. She passed by me timidly, so as not to set me off. As I watched her pass by, she stopped completely after having barely moved at all. Hey, don't stop! Then a powerful gust blew past us, barraging my face with dust. The dust got into my eyes and clouded my vision. While rubbing my eyes with my left hand, I swung blindly with the bat in my right, protecting the small opening I had presented. Rena didn't even try to attack during that opening. Attack me, no, she hadn't budged an inch. I could tell from the sound of her fluttering skirt in the wind. I could hear her skirt. As her skirt settled, so did the silence. At that moment, the voice inside me immediately warned me of impending danger. I was caught by surprise. Smelled the air had changed. Without me realizing, the air around me suddenly felt like a calamity was about to befall me. It's like the air had suddenly become invisible concrete, like Rena and I were locked into space. Rena didn't move an inch. Also unable to move, I stared at her back. Rena was the first to break the silence. Instantly, she altered her stance. It felt like I had just witnessed her shift from Rena to that other person who looked like Rena. The voice was one I knew well, which filled me with a kind of bewildering pity. Curiously, I felt relief upon hearing that pitiful voice.
Well, excuse me, but, can I ask you something?
Too shy to even turn around, Rena squeezed her voice out desperately, as she trembled. What?
Well, why do you have a bat, I wonder?
The question Rena asked was by no means unexpected. I can carry whatever I want.
But you didn't have one up until today. Well, why so suddenly?
It's alright if I decide to do something suddenly, isn't it? Is it strange I have a bat?
Because, Keiichi, you're not the kind of person to play baseball. It's weird.
Couldn't tell what kind of answer she was looking for. I was getting tired of answering her. By the way, Fallen, don't spoil anything, okay? And bugs is a very specific thing. So, like, don't spoil anything. Just suddenly got the urge to play baseball. Is that so weird?
It's weird.
She answered instantly, and that annoyed me slightly. I suddenly want to play baseball, and if I want to practice my swing, so I'm carrying around a bat. What's strange about that?
Strange. Weird. Definitely. Why is Keiichi-kun also...
Your ramblings are annoying me. Is that strange for me to have an interest in sports? I'm trying to sound a bit more threatening to end the conversation. Until my suspicions about Rena were cleared, no obligation to answer her questions.
I'm sorry. Don't get so angry.
Rena still didn't turn around and spat out words of apology one after the next.
Just one last thing. Tell me one last thing.
I don't feel like talking anymore. Hurry up and go. He yelled loudly at her, causing her to flinch like she had been struck. Seeing her in such a pathetic state caused my heart to ache sorely. But even though she was afraid, she stubbornly kept herself from moving. Before I was able to threaten her again, Rena asked her final question.
Well, why is that bat the same too?
What did she mean by the bat was the same? I had no idea what she was talking about. What are you saying?
I mean, why is even the bat the same?
I don't understand what you mean at all. Say it clearly. Even still, Rena didn't turn around. After inhaling deeply, she screamed.
I mean, why is even the bat the same as Satoshi-kun's?
Satoshi being... Huh? Upon hearing that name out of the blue, I became dumbfounded for a brief moment. By Satoshi, did she mean the student who transferred out last year? No, that couldn't be. Rena tried to cover it up, saying he transferred. Oishi-san told me quite clearly he was missing. He was a student who sat at my seat until last year. He was believed to have been demoned away by Oishi-sama's curse. I didn't know the details about his disappearance. The aunt he lived with was killed at the night of the Watanagashi by a drug addict. Not long after that, he suddenly vanished and was now missing. The mystery must be left as is. Wait, what? Did Satoshi and I were what? The gaze fell to the bat in my hands. Could it be? Satoshi Hojo. It was a bit difficult to see, but that was what was written on the white tape at the end of the bat. I see. So this was Satoshi's bat. Oh. This was Satoshi's bat. Since nobody was using it, I borrowed it. It's not a problem, is it?
That's not it!
When Rena said that, it made it seem like the bat was something that should never be touched. Like it was some sort of offering at a shrine or a memento of the deceased. I could only stand there perplexed and unable to respond. Rena continued speaking without waiting for a reply.
Why is it that you're doing the exact same thing Satoshi-kun did when it happened to him?
Rena was talking about more than just the bat belonging to Satoshi.
But the same with Satoshi-kun. Joined the baseball team. He didn't really like baseball.
What does that have to do with me?
Satoshi-kun also suddenly started walking around with a bat one day. Joined the team, but he wasn't the type to play sports.
What about it? I closed my mouth before I could say that one out loud. Listen carefully, Keiichi. Rena's trying to tell us something important.
Satoshi-kun also one day came to school all by himself all of a sudden, just like Keiichi-kun. Then one day, he suddenly started practicing his swing, just like Keiichi-kun. Then one day, he suddenly began carrying the bat around with him, just like Keiichi-kun. Then one day he suddenly...
Then one day he suddenly what? Rena swallowed her words. Rena's sudden silence brought a hush back to the surrounding area. Then that I could finally digest the content of the entire conversation. She was saying my chain of actions was exactly the same as Satoshi's. Yep. What was the meaning of this? Up until now, I'd forgotten all about Satoshi. I never paid much attention to him in the first place. Not only that, I didn't even know anything about what he'd done.
My actions today should have been my own creation after all the planning I've done. But they, the exact same as Satoshi's? Then Satoshi, no, more importantly, well, Satoshi and I acted the same, and there was a really good possibility that what happened after would be the same. Rena, that day, what happened to Satoshi? Rena knew. She knew what became of Satoshi. No, forget about what happened to the guy in the past. Rena knew what was going to happen to me. Answer me, Rena. Satoshi, what happened to him? So I grabbed Rena's shoulder violently and forcefully turned her around to face me. As I faced her, I felt a jolt travel through my entire body. I told you, Keiichi-kun. It's that person that I didn't know. At least it definitely wasn't the Rena Ryuga I'd been talking to up to now. The voice just now didn't have a trace of the trembling or emotion that I had before. The amount of regret I felt for turning her around so carelessly was unsurpassed. That gaze that pierced like a cold needle. The smile on her face that invoked an image of having been carved out by a knife. Chills went down my spine. My mind froze under a layer of rime. Both of Rena's eyes pierced through mine, leaving me unable to look away. As if to remind me of the fear from the time before. Rena brought her face close to mine, so close I could feel her breath. First I filled my entire field of vision. Then her sharply shaped lips grew even sharper. At the curve of her crescent moon, she grinned. I told you, Keiichi-kun. For a short pause, Rena repeated the same words again. Satoshi-kun, you see, transferred out. Transfer meaning what? What Rena meant must have been something new, some new definition of transfer that I was previously not aware of. My throat and lips dried up. I couldn't even acknowledge what I had just heard. All I could do was swallow down my own saliva. It would seem that Rena saw that as a nod. She pulled her gaze back and spryly stepped back 2-3 paces. As she did, my legs gave out and fell to my knees pathetically. Rena and me on my knees underneath her emotionless smile. That had to be a very odd sight indeed. Seeing me in that pathetic state, she neither scoffed at me nor held out her hand. I could neither stand nor escape with her gaze streaming through my eyes. There was undoubtedly a metal bat in my hand. Everyone transfers, guys. Wait, what? But right now it was useless to me. I was like a fly caught in her web. Heavy sweat beaded all over my body. I could feel it dripping from my skin. But you won't, will you, Keiichi-kun? And it finally released me from that cage of time after what felt like an eternity. The question was missing something important that was incredibly vague. Once again I swallowed hard, urging her on. To do what? What did she not want me to do? Transfer. Don't transfer out of school, kids! I have a friend that goes crazy. Pinch hitter. Satoshi I had what? All my well-planned actions throughout the day turned out to have been nothing more than a reenactment of what Satoshi had done. Satoshi, had he really been in the same situation as I was now? The friends he had gotten along with had changed suddenly, and for no reason, at least none that I had noticed, planned to kill him. Then, fearing for his life as I am, he got a bat to protect himself and carried it around every day to practice his swing. And then one day, suddenly, he transferred. My blood went cold, causing a prickling sensation to course through my veins. Starting near my heart, it radiated outwards, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, chilling every part of me without recourse. What did she mean by transfer? Was Satoshi still at wherever he transferred to? Was he the only one who would be able to understand me? Would he be able to tell me why it all ended up like this? More importantly, where did he transfer to? What did she mean by transfer? Before I knew it, I was at my front door. The frigid knob was hard to turn. Was nobody home? Wasn't that odd for an occurrence? I reached into my pocket, pulled out the single key attachment, my fur seal keychain. Cage of Time and Eternity. K became a lolly for a sec. Nipa! Stepped into the entryway. You know, this is really sad. No one will get the Nipa reference. Stepped into the entryway because it's really something you don't see in so far in the visual novel. I haven't seen it. And I know it happens in the anime. But the dub doesn't even use it until, like, I think the third
or fourth. Actually, I think the fourth question. No, the third question arc. Yeah. No, the fourth question arc. Yeah, fourth question arc. It's very interesting because the English dub, the voice actress for Rika. I mentioned this, I think, in the first live stream too, which was 5 hours long. So, go figure. But the voice actress for Rika uses the Nipa incorrectly. She says Nipa, and I was like, wow, that is like the most adorable Nipa like I heard ever. Pretty good, pretty good. Still prefer Japanese, but the English VA is pretty dedicated. Nipa. Stepped into the entryway. Just as I was about to take off my shoes, a chill ran down my spine. So when I entered right behind me, like a classmate messing around, standing right up against my back. You're kidding, right? That had to be my imagination. Logically speaking, it was impossible for someone to be able to hide their presence with my personal space all the way through the door. There was undoubtedly someone behind me. Hey now, Keiichi. How do you know that they're there even though they're behind you? Because I could hear the sound of flowing hair. There's no other reason I hear that sound. That was a presence. Because I could hear the sound of them blinking. Keiichi, my brother, there's no way you could hear that. It was mostly instinct that anything else was warning me of that presence. Common sense was telling me that it was just my imagination. It's just my imagination. There was no one behind me. I can't erase the mental image of an eerie figure standing behind me. At the same time, I asked myself, if there was nobody, then what was I feeling? An uncomfortable sensation crawled up my spine. Actually, would it be better if there was somebody there? If there was nobody when you turned around, would you be able to accept that? Be able to answer all those questions if I looked behind me? But I didn't have enough courage to even do that simple task. Alright, I could try speaking to them. The person behind me might answer me. It was a random thought. I didn't care how I went about it, just as long as I didn't have to turn around. If I calmed down and thought about it, I would have known that wouldn't have solved anything. Who is it? Spoke in such a hoarse, broken voice I couldn't believe it was my own. Almost feel them contemplating their response. I felt that there was no way I should be able to do that. Calm down, Keiichi, it's all in your head. That time I was certain I heard it. As if hesitantly trying to answer my inquiry, I was certain I could hear the sound of someone inhaling. I heard it. I heard it. I heard it clearly. It was a girl. A young girl. I didn't know who, but a tiny speck of courage in me, however reckless it was, inspired primarily a fitting solution to the current predicament, a scream. All the force of my body released from my lungs and through my throat, seizing all the thought process in my head. Suppressing all my thoughts and emotions, I began to collapse like a house of cards. So I managed to twist my body and look back as I did so. It was definitely there. Right there. Somebody was there. To the moment I turned around, until I brought the area behind me into my field of vision, they were definitely there. Falling face up, my eyes traced the remnants of the presence suspended in the empty space. Couldn't be. They were invisible. They looked like they weren't there, but were they actually still standing there? As I screamed, all the emotions I was holding back burst free in a violent wave. However, I was decidedly calm as my emotional dam collapsed. The turbulent wave of pent-up emotions was skillfully diverted into a torrent of aggression. That emotion was definitely required to extricate myself from the bizarre situation happening right in front of me. A state of heightened lucidity, I entrusted my body to the fury. The Mobat held firm in my right hand as if drawn there by a magnet. A mid-level sweep would be the hardest attack to dodge. I remember reading something like that from a book about swordsmanship or something. It's a picture that's actually drawn like a painting, Fallen, for the background image, I believe. Neck is itchy. Uh-oh. Rah! Brandished my will to fight. The afterimage of that amalgamation metal flashed as it swung from left to right, beating against the entryway. The bat slammed into the right wall, the tip rebounding violently. Very calmly, I transferred the force of the rebound to a sweep to the left. The door to the shoe cupboard was split into pieces. Those two swings whipped through empty space, but they seemed to have a great psychological impact on the enemy. Feel the panic emanating from that space. Attack wasn't the only thing required. I extracted the bat from the cupboard, it was embedded, and screamed. I spun my entire body around in a large arc. Rah! The scream shook the air, imbuing my furious swing with even more destructive power. Crack. Without mercy or restraint, my violent strike with certainly fatal force behind it shattered the top of the cupboard. None of my attacks struck the enemy, but my ferocity certainly seemed to impact them. Breathing heavily, my entire body soaked in sweat, the invisible enemy there, but not there, dispersed. When I was certain that the enemy had retreated, I locked the front door latched chain. No way I had only feigned retreat was now inside my house. Once again, I channel my aggression to search the house for the presents. It was gone. I succeeded in fending it off. At that moment, the tension drained from my body and let out a deep sigh of relief. No, Walken! No! The ultimate sacrifice was made by Walken. All of the emotion I had been holding back chaotically merged together and began to flood out. A hodgepodge of fear, accomplishment, and disbelief all mixed together and began to flow through my body. Unable to deal with each individual feeling, I beat them all back with the strongest exhaustion. Even this moment, I remained composed. After checking that all the doors throughout the house were locked, I went up to my room on the second floor and closed the curtains. Straightened my back and tilted my head back a little. To clear my mind of all my idle thoughts, I managed to calm down even more. What was that at the front door? There was definitely something there. Thinking about it, maybe it was just an apparition I dreamt up in my confused state, but I really didn't think that was the case. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. Compose yourself. No matter how calmly I thought about it, what just happened wasn't a figment of my imagination. It was obviously a supernatural phenomenon. Without a doubt, something was behind me. It wasn't some sort of illusion I saw amidst my confusion and disorientation. Proof? I had just one piece. When I asked who is it, they inhaled as if they were about to answer. That sound had clearly reached my ears. The situation I was in right now was still unclear. Either I'd been possessed by the supernatural phenomenon known as Orisho-sama's curse, or this was a ruse by the villagers who believed in it and were imitating it. Either way, their motives were unclear. The roundabout way it had been done was also still a mystery. If it was perpetrated by humans, that would mean admitting that it was Rena and the rest of them doing it, but it would be solvable. Oishi-san and the rest of the police would surely arrest my enemy. If it was a manifestation of Orisho-sama's curse, I wonder what would happen. Walken and Cupboard-chan also dead. Oishi-san was very clearly declared that curses didn't exist. At that time, those words were pretty dependable. As things were now, with the rising possibility that the perpetrators were not human, suddenly seemed quite unreliable. If I told Oishi-san that this was the work of Oishi-sama's curse, what would happen? I couldn't imagine his reaction, but it would go without question that a void would expand rapidly between myself and Oishi-san. With me having so few allies to begin with, and not being able to confidently declare whether or not this was a curse or not, there was no merit to doing that. I better keep the facts of what just happened at the doorway to myself. It would be better if I didn't add what happened here to the memo behind my clock. But still the ever so slight possibility that I was actually confused when I thought I was composed. I was just going berserk in the entryway. How wonderful would that be if that was really what happened? I'd be able to refute Orisho-sama's curse. If I deny Orisho-sama's curse, then that would mean admitting that Rena and the rest were the perpetrators. If I said that Rena and the rest weren't the perpetrators, then that would mean believing in Orisho-sama's curse. By denying both of those, I would be admitting that I myself was losing it. The three options from which I couldn't choose became a trilemma of sorts. They mixed together and formed a whirlpool in my mind, making my head spin. Once again, I straightened myself and leaned my head back slightly to cool myself down. Calm down, Keiichi. Accept what was actually happening as reality. Stop thinking of anything more than that. I couldn't help but think of it. How wonderful it would be if it turned out I was delirious and everything up now was a figment of my imagination. Orisho-sama's curse wouldn't exist and I would still be bestest buddies with Rena and the rest. But I'd have to be crazy. That was the first time in my life I ever wished such a thing. Kubasama-san? Oya, Shiro-sama. The phone rang noisily downstairs. Generally, there were no calls for me, so I never really answered the phone much. Since my parents weren't here, I had no choice. I squirmed off the bed and went downstairs. Hello, is this the Maibara residence? Keiichi, this is Mom. I totally had a bad feeling about this. It was because I thought she was going to ask me to go out and buy some things, so I took the initiative. What? I don't mind having instant noodles for dinner. Still a lot of them. The other day we went out as a family and brought a whole case of cup noodles. I wanted to get a bunch of different kinds actually. I refused since the individual packs were so expensive, so instead I got a whole case of the mega-sized pork bone and ginger flavored ones I like. My parents don't like strong flavors and didn't touch any of them, so the cupboards are still full of them. So you see, there really isn't a need to go shopping, right? Keiichi, I'm not asking you to go shopping. With Mommy and I have to go to Tokyo right now because of work. Huh? Right now? So this is really abrupt. No, we're already here. Left this afternoon. It's quite a distance to Tokyo from Hinamizawa. Gunning it full speed down the highway would still take 6 hours. Dad has a license, but since he doesn't like the highway, Oh, Dad has a license. But since he doesn't like the highway, they likely took the train. It would have taken longer. I'm thinking you might understand since you heard us speaking last night, but it has to do with Daddy's contract. Right now, things aren't going so smoothly. Now that you mentioned it, I didn't remember that they talked all that time about how his job prospects weren't looking so good. Orshu-sama-san. Kun-sama-san? Oh, okay. Daddy is really sensitive about things like this, so if we leave things as they are, it will affect his work. My father's particular for a fragile artistic personality. His emotions change as easily as a fall sky. You could just say he couldn't take criticism. But something like that can be done over the phone! Keiichi, this is your father's job, so can you support him a bit, please? Anyways, just faster to talk about it in person, so there wouldn't be any misunderstandings. As her son, there was nothing more I could say once they started talking about work. So we'll be back tomorrow night, Keiichi. Will you be fine on your own? It's not like I'll die or anything. Keiichi, you shouldn't speak so lightly of dying. If there's something troubling you, just talk to us. I believe Mommy will be able to help out. I started to bring up if I die rather abruptly, so I suppose they were a little worried. Really, I was more depressed by the fact that nothing would be solved by telling them. I didn't plan on dying. At least not while I still knew nothing, and I would never allow it. I won't die, I won't. I'll survive even if I have to gnaw my leg off. Yeah, see you then. Tomorrow morning, make sure to wake up. And eat your breakfast. Don't forget to take a bath and brush your teeth. Yeah, see you. The call ended like that. Sometimes my parents went off to Tokyo for business meetings. Tokyo was far away. I only did things by phone. The times they did go were normally planned out in advance. It never happened this suddenly. I couldn't say that those circumstances didn't feel strange or rather unnatural. Anyway, I only need to recognize the reality of the situation. That tonight I was the only one in the house. That's when my parents came back from work, I'd be gone. Missing, vanished. Looking back on the series of events of the previous 5 years involving Oyashiro-sama's curse, wouldn't seem that strange at all. Come to think of it, it was getting pretty late. I didn't think it was good that the only light in the whole house was from my room on the second floor. It was the same as broadcasting to the enemy. My parents were gone, and this was their chance. First, I ran into the living room, flicked on the lights, and turned the TV on to a reassuring volume. Next was a study. I simply turned on lights and some music. With this from the outside, it looked like my parents were here. Once again, I went through the house, checking to see if there was anything left unlocked. I saw the veranda and the laundry still hanging out there. I went pale. That would have made it too obvious. I needed to take it down. Snatch on the laundry and haphazardly erase all traces that my mother wasn't there. Should be fine now. Ah, garage. They hadn't gone all the way to Tokyo by car. They had gone up to Okinoya Station. Garage was empty, wide open, in plain sight. This was not good. Panic, I rushed out to the back door to close the normally open garage door. It should be fine now. I need to get the paper. Mom always got the paper. Since they left in the afternoon, the evening paper was still out there. My premonition was correct. I pulled out everything from the mailbox and dropped it in the entryway. With this for sure this time, it should be fine. Come to think of it, leaving the cupboard busted like that from my little freak out was kind of bad. I'll just say I tripped and fell and the bat I was holding smashed into it. So just leaving it in the current state wasn't good. I should clean it up a little before Mom got back and scolded me. Wall-sama. It's all about the wall, man. Remember that there was a broom and dustpan in the closet. As I was going to get them, the phone rang once more. Hello, this is the Maibara residence.
Oh, is this Keiichi-kun?
Is this Keiichi Maibara? She isn't here at the moment. You idiot, Keiichi Maibara. Reveal that your parents are gone. Fall still, calm down, take care of it. I think she'll be back soon. That wasn't a good response either. They might say they'll call back and tell her to call when she calls back. Then that's fine. It wasn't anything important. Well then, sorry for the bother. Scenario I feared didn't play out. Listening a sigh of relief. That call was fortunate in more ways than one. I have to deal with more telephone calls coming in from my parents tonight. I was somehow able to deal with the phone call just now, but I couldn't continue to rely on such poor improvisation. I had to make up a good story to explain that my parents were home, but couldn't answer the phone at the moment. They make it temporary, couldn't step away right now. That wasn't good enough. They were sick and went to bed because they weren't feeling well. Was that going to be safe enough? I was thinking about it on the way back to my room when the phone rang once again. It's like they were calling because they knew I was going to lie. They didn't want to pick up, but I knew I had to. They suspect my parents weren't here. I should have taken the phone off the hook until the pretense. I didn't realize that it was. So the phone rang, I had to pick it up. I put myself and lifted the receiver. Hello? Someone announcing that this was my brother since I had no reason to be kind to someone I didn't know the intention of. But unlike my uncouth voice, the person on the other side sounded goofy and lighthearted.
Hello, my apologies for calling so late.
Oh. Hello, my apologies for calling so late. This Oishi from the Okinomiya bookstore. Oishi-san! Is that you, Mayabara-san? Good evening. Good to hear you are doing well. Wait just a minute, please. Grabbed the portable handset and rushed up to my room with it. The same no matter where I was since there was no one else at home. I wanted to be in a spot that just felt a bit safer when speaking on the phone with Oishi-san. So sorry for the wait. How are things? Any change since then? Since then, when was that exactly? There's something about the brazen way he talked that rubbed me the wrong way. The last time I spoke with Oishi was 2 days ago. The day I stayed home from school, I met Oishi-san on the way back to the hospital. We headed to town for lunch and had a talk. It's like, oops, I left like every door open and all the windows unlocked. Here they come to kill me. After that, Rena and Mion came to check up on me. Whenever I spoke with Oishi-san, they always knew about it. It's like that since the first time I met him. Today's phone call may well be found out by them as well. Hello. Can you hear me, Mayabara-san? Huh? Sorry. What did you say? I asked if anything's changed since last time. There wasn't an answer, so I got a bit worried. Not really. The words stopped my throat. There was a ton of stuff that happened. All of it baffling. What should I talk about? I don't understand any of it, but I should try asking. If I didn't ask now, I may never have another chance. This night, when my parents weren't home, I had no guarantees. I'd make it through the night safely after all. Well, Oishi-san, it seems that someone is after me. Really? Could all just be a coincidence, but that day I missed school when I was sick, the two of them came to check on me. Which two? Rena and Mion. Started asking about how I had lunch with you. What next? They left me some mochi when they came to visit, but there was a needle inside. Fortunately, I somehow didn't swallow it. Wonder could that have just been a threat? About the needle. It was just one of those common sewing needles you see all the time. There's a hole to the thread string through. Not that, Mayabara-san. The needle itself. That's evidence. It can be used as proof that they threatened you. Where is that needle? That's right. That's it. Dropped the receiver and rushed downstairs. When I tossed the mochi, I had overlooked it out in terror. The needle was a valuable piece of evidence. I certainly thrown the mochi and needle at the wall together. If it was there, then it would be on the living room wall. My prudent mother had cleaned that living room wall, and there was not a trace of mochi left on it. Could be that it dropped in the gap between the wall and the carpet? Finally searched by running my palm along the carpet, but nothing turned up. Tried moving around the sofa and desk, pulling up the carpet and then flapping around. I couldn't find the needle. Did my mom clean up everything without noticing it? Just 2 days ago, I didn't know what they had collected, what day they collected burnable trash, but it may still be in the trash bin in the kitchen. I rushed into the kitchen, opened up the lid of the pail, and poured out the contents, but even at a glance, I could tell it was incredibly difficult to find a needle in this pile of trash. I was looking for a needle in a trash stack. I know, I'll try running my hand through it. It's a bit gross, but I was looking for a needle. About a small prick, I'd be able to find it. Very tactless method, but was quickest. Out of my breath, it started striking the pile of trash from my hand. Phil flew about. There was nothing more disgusting than this, but it was not time to be concerned about such details. It's the final wall summer. Continued on for a while, but nothing turned up. I wanted to search more thoroughly, but I was still on the phone. I shouldn't keep Oishi-san waiting for too long. Later, when Mom got back, I have to ask her if there was a needle. Used to be scribbling on the notepad and fixed the refrigerator with a magnet. Was there a needle? Scrawled the words with a red pen, and then dashed back upstairs when Mom been keeping Oishi-san waiting for far too long. Hello? How did it go? Oh, hello, how did it go? I couldn't find it. I was really overwhelmed back then, and I see. It would be great if you could find it. Keep it safe. That's right, the needle wasn't the only incident. I had to tell him about this morning with the hit and run. Also, Oishi-san, that isn't all. Actually, this morning, the van was definitely aiming for me. I could say that without question due to the circumstances at the time. Do you see the license plate? I can search for it from here. Damn, I just flipped out yelling at him back then, but I didn't look at the plate. But failures on my part with the needle and the plate number. So focused just protecting myself that I let some of the most important details slip out of my grasp. Punched my pillow, annoyed at how worthless I was. I'm sorry. I don't know much more than it was a white fan. Nothing to fret about, Mayabara-san. Anyone will be shaken up after being hit. Guess all of this really isn't a coincidence, is it? Oishi-san started to hem and haw over the other end. Imagine him folding his arms. Also, Rena is acting strange. How so? What Rena said on the way home today, asking why I was so much like Satoshi-kun. I could say with confidence that Rena knew what happened to Satoshi. She knew that there was more to him than just simply disappearing. Rena knows. She knows something regarding what happened to Satoshi, the kid who was demoned away last year. What would that be exactly? Rena said I was the same as Satoshi. Said something to the effect that the way things are going, I'll end up with the same fate as Satoshi. Fate, you say? Exactly what kind of fate did she say would befall you? Transferring out, she said. Transferring out? Rena said Satoshi transferred out. So given how things are going for me, I'll transfer out too. Oishi-san let out a stern sigh and grumbled loudly. Maibara-san, that was probably some sort of threat. Or maybe some type of warning. I thought so too. The point I started to think. Would it be prudent to sum up everything that had happened up until now as the machination of some human perpetrator? Other than the theory of it being Rena and the others, I was left with Oishi-san's curse actually existing as the only other explanation. Of course I couldn't tell that to Oishi-san. Them wasn't important in the first start, huh? Was it them? Everything's them. They are. Except Rena's strange behavior could be proof of either scenario. Whether it was Oishi-sama's curse being real or everything being part of a conspiracy committed by all of the villagers, Rena was involved. Rena had to know something. Rena was suspicious. What exactly was Rena? I couldn't help but think she was somehow involved with the prior string of mysterious deaths. I seem to recall that Oishi-san admitted that he had dug into Rena's past a little. He's probably just downplaying it when he said a little, meaning he had actually dug pretty deep most likely. I want to hear about Rena. I want to know what happened to her at her previous school, all the things that were still unknown to me. Rena was somebody I should suspect? No, not that. I want to know the truth. Tonight I was alone in this huge house. Even though I had said I couldn't count on them, I lost the security I felt I had just by my parents being around. It wasn't like this house was some sort of fortress or castle. If a malicious person decided to use brute force, they'd easily gain entry. There was no other residence close to the Maibara residence. No one would be able to hear anything, no matter how loud it was. I had never felt as much resentment towards my father's artistic temperament and the fact that he had this house built in such a remote location as I did right now. I wonder if I'd still be here by tomorrow morning, so I had to ask, right now, because I had no idea when the next chance would come. Oishi-san, I have something I want to ask about. Please don't keep anything from me. Sure, ask away. Even though he was so far away on the other end of the line, this was the most reliable he had ever felt. I want to ask about Rena. What happened at her previous school? Actually, regarding Rena's... I noticed a sound that had been going on for a while now. So I was so focused on the call I hadn't paid attention to it at first, but I finally realized it was a doorbell. It was playing constantly. Cray cray. The time was 7 o'clock. It was past the time the postman would make a delivery, and past any sensible time for a neighbor to be visiting. I considered just acting like nobody was home, but that wouldn't be good. That would ruin all the work I put in making it look like my parents weren't home. I need to answer the door. Hello, Maibara-san. Sorry, someone seems to be at the door. I'm going to go see who it is. A guest? I see. My apologies. Should we end this phone call now? That'd be a problem. No, I'll be back in a second. Do you mind if I just leave the phone on? It's fine, I don't mind. Dropped the handset on my bed and dashed down to the door. I need to make up a good excuse to get them to leave. I had a hunch it was the lady who called right before Oishi-san did. In which case it would be one of the neighbors who was friends with my mom. Let's say mom isn't feeling well and went to bed early. That'd be the easiest option. It'd be hard for her to ask me to wake my mom up if she's not feeling well. The bell continued to ring at regular intervals. If someone didn't answer after you rang the bell so much, you'd normally give up and go home, wouldn't you? Then removing the chain, I opened the door slightly and peered out at the visitor. Chill ran down my spine. I knew it. Somewhere deep inside I had prepared for this moment. I tried to escape by imagining it was the easiest person to deal with, one of my mom's friends.
Good evening.
Rena! It's Walcon at the door! No, it's Rena at the door. There shouldn't be any reason for Rena to come over at this hour. The timing also made me feel uneasy, because it was just as I was about to ask Oishi-san about Rena, although she'd been ringing the doorbell for like 5 hours. Wait, what? Wish I could just chalk this up as mere coincidence. But those unsettling words from Mion several days ago echoed back to me. There's nothing this old man doesn't know. Are you alone, Rena?
Yeah.
It seems that Mion wasn't with her, but that didn't change the situation at all. Why did you come here?
Hey, Keiichi-kun. I'd like you to open the door so we can talk. Can I come inside? I wonder.
It's true that speaking through a chained door wasn't the right way to talk to a classmate, but... My house, the chain has to be on at night. Don't worry about it.
Then it can't be helped, I guess.
Rena pouted rather sadly. She kept smiling at Elise, and her effort to keep that smile up was quite pitiful. Even though she was tugging at my heartstrings, I didn't lower my guard. As long as I stayed like this, even if it made my heart ache, my life wasn't in danger. What I really feared, more than the possibility that hoodlums would assault me if I removed the chain, was trusting Rena enough to remove the chain and having my friendship betrayed. This reminds me. Nice clothes. Where do you get it? From the garbage? Oh! She hunted it from the dump, man. Brand new. Found it myself. Well, I really fear more than the possibility of holding for something from her. She was trusting Rena enough to remove the chain to have my friendship betrayed. As long as the chain wasn't unlatched, even if it made my heart ache, I wouldn't have to deal with being betrayed by Rena. Since it didn't seem like I'd removed the chain from her silent urging, she appeared to give up on trying to get into the entranceway.
Have you eaten yet, Keiichi-kun?
No, I haven't eaten. Since my mom wasn't there, dinner wouldn't be ready no matter how long I waited. I laid down when I got home, was woken up by the phone, and didn't have a chance to eat since I used up all my time talking. I was going to have cup noodles in any case. I could just eat one whenever I wanted. No, not yet. What about it?
Hey, then good. Look here. I brought a bunch of dishes.
Rena held out a stack of boxes wrapped in cloth.
If I could use your kitchen, I can heat up the miso soup and other stuff.
It's fine. You don't need to do that.
But there's a lot of tofu and vegetables in it. Does Keiichi-kun not like that type of stuff? I wonder.
There's no way I wouldn't like that. I love miso soup with lots of ingredients. White radishes, carrots, burdock root, potatoes, dense and fibrous root vegetables. Yeah, that miso soup looks incredible.
I asked about rice, so if you microwave it, you can eat it really quick.
Without a doubt, rice needs miso soup. Stuffing rice down your gullet, sipping miso soup in between ravenous bites. Oh yeah, how wonderful it is to be born Japanese.
Also, I made some more pickles. I made sansai pickles this time.
When I moved here to Hinamizawa, I scoffed at the mountain vegetables called sansai. But I was captivated by their charm the first time I tried them. It's a deep yet light flavor. The vegetables from the supermarket were tasteless and bland compared to these. If you had to describe them, then they were the vegetables for the uninitiated. To become an expert such as myself, you first had to partake of sansai. It's common knowledge around here that the Ryugu family's traditional pickles were wonderfully delicious. No matter what kind of pickles they were. They go so well with that fluffy white rice.
And also,
wait, there's more! So delicious, just seems so delicious! Farewell to my unhealthy self who said he'd make do with cup noodles. Rena appeared to be in good spirits and she was offering such a delicious sounding dinner. Stress evaporated from my gut and hunger reared its voracious head. At the same time, awareness of Rena suddenly dwindled. Rena did say she was alone. Shouldn't be a problem letting her inside. Though the possibility that it was laced with poison still hadn't been ruled out. Poison! Poison, I wonder. Venus, actually, Keiichi's probably conditioned to like certain foods. And, as he said, the Ryugu family pickles are to die for. That's a joke. At that moment, a cold chill ran down my spine once again. I couldn't understand why such a sensation had occurred just then, but the voice inside me was sounding the alarm. This happy, grayed-out Rena, speaking of this charming dinner, was dependent on one premise. The premise was that tonight, dinner hadn't been made at my house, and he was under the assumption that my mom, who should be making it, wasn't here. At any normal household, 7 o'clock would be around the middle of dinner time. If my mom were here, we'd be eating dinner around this time as well. The fact that she brought over all the makings of a meal at this time was inherently strange, unless she knew. Rena. Did she know that my parents weren't home? But there was also the chance that this was a bluff. I had turned on the lights and a bunch of other stuff to make it seem like my parents were here. The chance that Rena was unsure if my parents were home. I had to wonder. The laundry, the garage, the evening paper, there were plenty of signs of them being hastily tidied up. It's hard to say that Rena didn't have a chance to determine if my parents were here or not. There was no reason for me to confess that right now.
Let's try holding on to that fact as long as I could. First of all, the chain was still latched. As long as I didn't take that off, Rena wouldn't be able to do anything to me. I'm quite grateful, but dinner will be ready pretty soon. Huh? Is that so? Is that so? I know you went through all the effort and everything, but well, let me think of a good way to refuse. My words trail off weakly. But some of this could work as side dishes, I think. Sorry, we have more than enough already. My mom always makes quite a few sides, so... Huh? You have side dishes? A smile that bordered on a cringe. I dodged her questions apologetically. The feeling I tried to ignore began creeping up my back again. I spoke as if my mom was setting down dinner right now, but didn't mesh with what Rena was saying. Rena was talking as if she was aware of some obvious fact, and that I was aware of it as well. Higurashi is 2 seasons of anime. Well, for the main story, it's 2 seasons of anime. The first season of anime covers the first 4 question arcs and first 2 answer arcs. And the second season of anime covers the second 2 answer arcs, as well as has a original, I think some original backstory on the culprit or something like that. Something about a culprit. Anyway. So Keiichi can cook. What did you make, I wonder? No, well, it's not that I assumed out of nowhere that I had made the dishes. No, not so much that I made them, rather my mom hadn't. Did you really make them? The side dishes? Did you, Keiichi-kun? It wasn't me who made them. My mom did. No, she's making them right now. So you see, I'm sorry, but I can't eat what you brought. Rena felt silent at that moment. At that moment, I felt that the light had suddenly disappeared from her eyes. How about you try guessing what Keiichi-kun's dinner will be? It doesn't matter what I'm going to eat. Let's see. The conversation might appear natural at first glance, but Rena was firmly in control. Felt like I was being interrogated. Your dinner, I wonder, is it something that can be made with just hot water? Hey now, stop with the insults. Can't believe you belittle my mom's extravagant dinner like that. Tickets sold out, full capacity already. It's that amazing. Try my best to put on a strong front, but I couldn't grit my teeth right. So instead I looked like someone who was borderline hysterical. Rena showed no reaction whatsoever, even to that silliness. Keiichi-kun, did your mother really leave your dinner? No, you see, she didn't leave me dinner. She's making it right now. It's almost time for dinner. Rena had taken that assertion of mine. My mother was home and making dinner right now and was completely ignoring it. I could tell that the more I panicked, the colder Rena became. Hey, Keiichi-kun. The moment an uncomfortable chill crept in front of the gap in the doorway. Is your mom home? I wonder. I couldn't keep up this charade anymore. Rena. She knew full well that my parents weren't home. But I'd come too far to admit that now. Anyway, my parents were here and we'd be having dinner soon. That was the situation I had concocted. A little bit of dead animals and dead plants. What is this? Mad father? So I answered. Told her she was here. She's here, of course. I feel the humidity drying out from the surrounding air. Rena's eyes were becoming even more frigid, piercing me with a gelid glare. Why? Uh-oh, what do you mean? Try acting casual, but the facade was torn off me the instant I looked into Rena's eyes. That look informed me of Rena's response as soon as she could open her mouth. Why have you been lying to me, I wonder? I'm not lying. That's a lie, isn't it? It's not a lie. Lies! Rena's outburst sent a jolt surging through my body. Rena and I were still separated by that few inches that slightly ajar but still chained door could afford. Close the door! Up, time to eat dinner! Bye! Click! Lock it again. But despite that, I was still being cornered. My house, which I considered a safe haven until now, had become more like a dark alleyway where no one could save me. Shall I guess your dinner, Keiichi-kun? Let's see. I knew now that Rena had already known that my parents would not be here tonight. It was still so strange that I had come to this. Maybe she somehow knew that my parents weren't home. There was no way she'd be able to guess what I'd be eating tonight. Rena said she'd guess.
How could she guess it? How could she know it was instant
cup noodles? That's right, isn't it?
that I was going to eat? Wait, cooking repertoire of a man can't do housework is probably nothing but cup noodles after all. We get to statistically, it was the most probable answer. Hold the door! That didn't mean she was guessing.
I don't think you'll be full with just cup noodles. I think having rice and stuff will definitely hit the spot.
Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. It was just a coincidence. Rena was reading certain tells of mine, so the fact that she was inferring what I was thinking alarmed me. It wasn't as if she was actually reading my mind. If it was being read, then she was a demon. No, not a demon. Things like that. They couldn't possibly exist.
Do you like them?
Do you mean noodles?
No.
Rena indicated that the point of my answer was addressing was wrong. Her rebuttal was so short that I momentarily didn't understand the words Rena had spoken. Sorry, Rena, what did you say just now?
Huh? About what?
Just now, you asked me if there was something that I liked, didn't you? It wasn't long before I regretted how carelessly I pushed forward with that question. Such a simple answer, that was why I wasn't able to comprehend it.
Pork bone and ginger flavor.
I wonder how I appeared in the moments my mind went completely blank until the moment I was able to recover. I would invite her in. Oh, what? Poison? Whatever. I finished the meal first. No, guys. As I feel the view began to distort, slowly swirling in a counterclockwise direction, I lost all sense of balance. Why do you know that? I didn't even deny it. That was the type of frenzied state I was in. How could Rena know even this? Not even caring, as I mashed my head against the door, I fixated my gaze on Rena. She didn't even flinch when she saw me do that. I certainly did buy them. I bought a bunch at once. Bought a whole case. How could you know that?
Why, I wonder? Quite strange, isn't it? Isn't it?
How could you dodge a question at a time like this? The chain at the door suddenly were no longer protecting me. How do you know? Why do you know? Answer me!
You bought them at 7 Mart, didn't you?
A shiver ran up my spine. Tried covering it up with an angry facade. Like I said, why do you know that?
I was behind you, following you the whole time.
What are you saying? I couldn't understand why she was saying she'd been following me all this time.
That's because Rena was right behind Keiichi-kun's back the whole time.
Like that night? That night I was absorbed in my phone conversation with Oishi-san. I didn't even sense her being there. Standing behind the door, behind me, standing there just like that?
When Keiichi-kun was picking out the noodles, I was watching the entire time. You picked out so many different flavors, didn't you? Then your mom got angry. If you're going to pick the expensive ones, you should just pick one type, she said. Then Keiichi-kun picked out that big box of pork bone and ginger flavor that he loves so much, didn't he? Star. I like it too. Pork bone noodles. I can never eat a whole big bowl myself.
My brain was paralyzed, dulling my senses. It may have been a defense mechanism to diminish the fear I was feeling to non-traumatizing levels. The fear being diminished, the fog enveloping my mind was cleared away. Then I could understand what Rena was saying and started to put meaning behind her words. Even so, my fear hadn't subsided completely. It was like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, eyes closed so I didn't have to look down, didn't actually solve any of the basic problems. I slowly took a step backwards, and as I withdrew, Rena advanced.
So Keiichi-kun, can you open this? Eat dinner together. I'm sure it's going to be delicious, so okay?
Rena's pale, slender fingers squirmed through the crack in the door one at a time, as if they had a mind of their own, rattling the chain. Rattle, rattle the chain! Phineas, we're not sure what's happening right now. Only those who know the answers will know. She had unlatched the chain from the door, feeling terror would have exploded within me. But Rena didn't do that. She was simply imploring me to remove the chain. She's doing her hardest to light the fuse to the powder keg in my heart, trying again and again. Clatter, clatter, but it doesn't light. It doesn't light!
Open up, Keiichi-kun.
Please go away. Beg of you, please go away!
How can you say something so mean, I wonder?
Please go away! Go away! Go away! The powder keg inside me finally went off. No smoldering, it just exploded. I tackled the door. Force through the doorknob had knocked Rena's momentarily off balance. Couldn't hesitate here. I grabbed onto the door on both hands, planted my feet firmly, and pulled with all my might. That slimy sound I so desired didn't happen. I could feel a tiny, disturbing bit of resistance keeping the door from closing. The source of that was Rena's fingers. Each of those fingers wriggling, squirming along like tendrils of a carnivorous plant through the crack in the doorway.
It hurts! It hurts, Keiichi-kun! It hurts! What?
It was a harsh shriek, but more of a yelp she was trying to keep back. Go away! Go away! Go away! Kept on pulling on the door with all my might. I even realized that if I didn't loosen my pull the door at least momentarily, Rena wouldn't be able to pull her fingers out. That was why the door wasn't closing.
Really hurts, Keiichi-kun. I'm sorry if I was messing around too much. Ooh.
I didn't care one bit for her apology. No matter how much she apologized, it didn't change any of what she had done up to now. It didn't change anything.
It hurts. It hurts. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Go away! Go away! Go away! Rena couldn't leave even if she wanted to because I trapped her fingers. Rena's white fingers had become deep red and were no longer even squirming.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Go away! Go away! Go away!
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Rena's apologies were occasionally twisted with pain. Like a broken record, she was intent on repeating it over and over. See you, Vanitas. Go away, go away, go away! Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it! Pulled on the door even harder. Finally, Rena's fingers were somehow able to slip out from their imprisonment in the doorway. And when that happened, the door closed soundly, and I could hear the thud of Rena falling on her butt on the other side. I locked the door immediately. Made a loud clunk, voicing my rejection to Rena.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Keiichi-kun, I'm sorry. Open up, Keiichi-kun.
Rena leaned against the door, apologizing profusely and nothing else. After confirming that I was sufficiently sealed off from her, I trudged away from the entryway. On the other side, I could still hear Rena echoing her apology. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Pitiful words, they would be forever seeking my forgiveness. I didn't feel bad about this at all. That wasn't out of any sort of malice. I felt a sort of hazy sense of relief that I was able to escape from Rena. For Mion had threatened me at this doorway, saying there was nothing she didn't know. Just now at the same place, Rena told me the same thing. My futile attempts to disguise the fact my parents weren't home had served no purpose from the start. She just pretended to be out and not even open the door. My meager plans hadn't helped at all. Making Himisawa was impossible to outwit them. Even though I was on the other side of the door, I wanted to get as far away from Rena as possible. One step, two steps, with each one, her sniveling apologies became more distant. The legend says that Oishi's still waiting for Keiichi on the phone, right? I sprinted up the stairs and dove into my room. As you would expect, I was finally no longer able to hear Rena repeating her endless apology. Driving into my bed, I was startled by the hard lump I felt. Was something in my bed? It was a receiver. I finally remembered. I was in the middle of a call with Oishi-san. Look at the clock, apparently not much time had passed since I went downstairs. Look at that, my clock had run out of batteries. Talked to Rena for so long. How did almost no time pass? And the clock was ticking forward 1 second every second as usual. Pulled a still warm receiver to my ear. Time, which felt frozen, began moving once again. Hello, Oishi-san. Sorry to keep you waiting. Not at all. Not at all. I didn't wait that long. I don't know. My voice is like getting out. It became apparent that the amount of time that had passed between myself and Oishi was different. The phone, I could hear an energetic voice from a sports program or something. It drove home just how far away Oishi-san really was. Rena came just now. Did she come to play? I wasn't confident that I could coherently explain the situation to Oishi-san. But I need to right now. Right now I need to know about Rena. So I was planning to ask Oishi-san more about Rena. But Rena's little visit had interrupted the conversation. What was true and what was false, I couldn't tell. But one thing I knew was a single grim reality that Rena was suspicious. I'm able to figure out something if I ask Oishi-san about her. Until now I had regretted it whenever I forced myself to ask about things that I was better off not knowing. When looking at it that way, you could say I hit rock bottom. There was no possible way I could feel any more regret than I did right now. No, rather I want to know if there was anything beyond on this I would regret more. Forget about tomorrow. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility for something to happen tonight. To know everything I could. I was absolutely not going to die like this. Now without knowing anything, I definitely won't. Regarding Rena Ryugu-san, I did a bit of digging. Yes, well, it wasn't much. I understood that Oishi-san was talking in circles. A bit meant I dug so deep it'd be hard to discuss with you since you're friend. I want to know everything from your research. I don't think you'll be very interested in what I have to say, though. Oishi-san spoke as calmly as possible to Oishi-san, who was continuing to avoid the issue. Then I said it. I think Rena-ryugu is suspicious. If the past incidents were from Oishi-sama's curse, Rena-ryugu is involved. Do you have some sort of proof that makes you believe Rena-san is suspicious? The manner in which Oishi-san spoke became very firm. Do you have some sort of proof? That was him talking as a detective. I only have circumstantial evidence. I see. I could tell even over the phone how disappointed Oishi-san was. Put on the fishing line was when he felt a bite, only to reel in the bait. Disappointed but ready to cast the line once more, that's how it seemed. Oishi-san. Can't do anything without physical proof, can you? What I meant was you can't come and save me without proof. Suck that barb in there. As Oishi-san loved roundabout ways of saying things, he understood me just fine. It's fine, Mayabara-san. I'll protect you. That was not the least bit reassuring. Oishi-san was just using me to continue his investigation. I was just going to get killed, and my corpse would be an important piece of evidence. That was all I was to him. Whether I'm alive or dead may be of no concern to your investigation, but it's all over for me when I die. Oishi-san went silent on the other end of the line. That may have been too blunt, but I didn't care. All I needed to relate to Oishi-san was that I was currently in a very dangerous position. So please tell me. Tell me about Rena. Satoshi transferred out. Not too far in the future, I'll probably also do what Rena is calling transferring out as well. But you won't be able to find my corpse. You haven't even been able to find Satoshi's body yet. Alright, Mayabara-san, please calm down. Don't lose, Higurashi. I was already suppressing my agitation even without Oishi-san having to tell me. It wouldn't solve anything if I continued screaming about my mistrust in the police. It seemed that I could only depend on myself and the bat Satoshi left behind to protect myself. Then I at least want to know about what happened before Rena transferred schools. Story time! You're aware that this won't be very interesting, right? Oishi-san realized my resolve couldn't be swayed, finally caved in. Right now, to me, there's nothing that I'll find uninteresting. Please. There are a few things I need you to agree to. Okay. Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it may be true. Are you still interested? Might not be true. I don't understand what you mean. There isn't one main investigation for the mysterious chains of death in Hinamizawa. Each one is treated as its own individual case. Thus, Rena-ryugu has never been linked to any of the investigations. Basically, you see, this is an investigation of Rena done by the police, and his personal inquiry is what you're telling me. Oh, this isn't okay, that's Keiichi saying that. Oops. This will make things a lot quicker since you understand. All of it is from either phone calls or meetings and interviews, so they aren't corroborated. I'm asking you to take this all with a grain of salt is what I mean. We have an agreement. All of it is just from what you heard. Yes, my apologies. It's all my personal investigation, you see. That thing. You said you saw Rena's chart, didn't you? I'm sure I heard you say that. Oishi-san paused for a moment on the other end of the line. I told you that too. Ha ha ha. Please pretend you didn't hear anything about that. I didn't care about Oishi-san having certain obligations and responsibilities. I didn't care if there was no proof. Even if they were just rumors, there was no smoke without fire after all. Please tell me, Oishi-san. Understood. Oishi-san finally opened those tight lips of his. His tight lips were open! Yeah, Rena's just like, sips tea. Seems that Rena lived in Hinamizawa a long time ago. She had moved to Ibaraki Prefecture after she finished elementary school. Then following that, right after transferring, the unfortunate incident with the breaking of the school windows happened. Then Rena confided to the doctor it was Oyashiro-sama. This is all that he knew. There isn't much difference between what I know and what you know, Mayabara-san. And what part did you investigate further? I didn't need to ask. It was the incident that happened just after she transferred. The incident Rena was responsible for and what she divulged to the doctor afterwards, correct? Yes. If you learned about that, you started suspecting Rena and the others, didn't you? Yes, I did suspect them. So they're the ones after all. Oh no, that's not what I meant by suspect them. Huh? Oishi-san was the type of person to say things with confidence, but these particular words were less than reassuring. And who did you just suspect? That it was Oyashiro-sama. Huh? That Oyashiro-sama's curse really exists. Yeah, right, well, ha 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 ha. Oishi-san's laugh was quite dry, certainly not the kind that would make you want to join in. Oishi-san resumed the conversation, but the dubious circumstances behind Satoshi's disappearance. The course of events up until the start of delving into Rena's past.
Just then there was thunder in the distance and a heavy rain started pouring down. No, Oishi has done personal investigation on Oyashiro-sama. Came without warning, rain so heavy it felt like it could beat you down. Oh my god, it sounds like it's drowning me out! Ah! I left the window in my room open a crack to let the heat out. The violent wind danced in my room, making the curtains flap wildly. What is it? Ah, nothing. It suddenly started raining heavily. Sorry, please continue. Got up while still on the phone and closed the window. I said at the beginning it was an incident, but because neither the school nor the victims filed charges, the police were never involved. See, those involved were very reluctant to talk. Regardless of there being a victim who had one eye beaten so badly that permanent damage, could have been the school or possibly some individual who made arrangements to keep this from going public. Also, the psychologist was very strict about their professional ethics. Hello? Maibara-san, can you hear me? There was a figure of a person standing by the light near the mailbox this whole time. In the torrential rain, they didn't have an umbrella. They were unquestionably drenched from head to toe. In this shower, which more resembled a waterfall, drops of water dripped down from her hair. Just standing there, both arms dangling at her side. One hand was a stack of boxes wrapped in cloth. Her eyes focused on my room. Focused on me as I was about to close the window. Her mouth was methodically repeating a chewing motion. It was as if she had something hard to chew in her mouth, with her cheeks puffing out. What could she be eating over there? How could it be that at this time I was more enthralled by Rena instead of the shocking developments being brought to light by Oishi-san? If I hadn't started raining, I wouldn't have gone to the window. Then I wouldn't have noticed Rena, nor would I have noticed that. Rena's mouth was moving in the same pattern. She wasn't eating something, she was repeating something. What was it? What was she repeating? To me? What was she saying? Why was I right up against the window fixated on her? Hello, Maibara-san. Can you hear me? Hello? I'm sorry. Oh, Maibara-san. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. Hello? Maibara-san. What's the matter? In this torrential downpour, Rena was still apologizing. The other self inside me drew the curtain hastily with my right hand, blocking my view of the outside. Even doing that, Rena's relentless apology still reached my ears. I'm sorry. 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 I'm sorry. Sorry. I forgive you for this. Will you forgive me for that? Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. 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 Damn it. Why did I have to forgive her? I'm the one who wants to be forgiven. What part of me can't you forgive? I won't be killed. You won't forgive me, then I won't forgive you either. I won't forgive. 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 I won't forgive. Maibara-san, if you can hear me, then please respond. Hello? Okay, Ichi, let me in. Not by the hairs. Oh, split personality and at the 7 part. Rain of apologies. Holy crap. But you know what? I think this is a good place to stop. I know it's pretty loud and it's raining, but I think it's a good place to stop. It'll be a very interesting place to start, that's for sure. We'll hit up the tips later. This has been animefanrk2k. The plot thickens, and I think the last episode, or the last live stream of this game, will be next week. So look forward to that. This has been animefanrk2k. You know, there are a lot of things happening. This is animefanrk2k. Thank you very much for watching today's Monday Night Livestream. I hope to see you next week for another Monday Night Livestream, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or, you know, and whatever else I upload on the internet. So, see you guys. Thank you very much. I'm losing my voice. Good night.